What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 1TG Chapter 001 Cut off Hu Hongfa at the beginning and recruit the future One Piece. See Circle Calendar 1510, East Blue, Windmill Village. In a tavern full of laughter, a 7-year-old black-haired boy stood on a bar stool. Wearing a white shirt with a ship anchor printed on it, a pair of blue shorts, and flip-flops on his feet, the boy pointed to the bandage under his left eye and said loudly, "Shanks, this is a proof of manliness. Take me with you on your next voyage, I want to be a pirate too." "Haha, with your little arms and legs, can you become a pirate?" The red-haired young man named Shanks wore a yellow straw hat, and the 3 scars on his left eye did not bring much ferocity, but seemed approachable. "I fight really hard, my fists are like pistols." The boy gestured twice to punch his fist, which caused everyone to roar with laughter. Lucky Roo, who was 300 caddies puffy, joked while eating barbecue, "Luffy, you are too young." "HMPH, I'm not a child, I've grown up." The boy named Luffy argued with a full face of resentment. Shanks came out to smooth things over. "Okay, don't be angry, Luffy, have a glass of juice." "Oh, thanks." After thanking him politely, Luffy drank it down. Clap clap. Seeing this, Shanks slapped the bar hard, grinning from ear to ear. "Ha ha ha, don't you think you're still a child?" The rest of the people were laughing too, little Luffy was so funny. At this time, a teenager about 10 years old walked into the tavern. The light blue sweater is paired with dark blue jeans, and a pair of blue and black striped sneakers on the feet immediately makes the people in the tavern feel like the sea is rushing towards them. The lively atmosphere gradually subsided, and everyone focused their attention on the blue figure. The young man's name is Sikong Ye, with white hair and purple eyes, exquisite facial features, and extraordinary handsomeness. His immature face reveals a confidence and plainness that is completely incompatible with his age. Sikong Ye strolled up to Luffy, stretched out his hand, and extended the invitation with a serious face. "Hi Luffy, my name is Sikong Ye. I have already felt your determination. Since they don't want to take you out to sea, let me take you for a ride." In fact, Sikong Ye is not a native of the world of One Piece, but a traveler. 3 days ago, Sikong Ye was walking on the rainy street with an umbrella. Suddenly struck by a purple lightning, and then traveled to the world of One Piece. I don't know if it was because of being struck by lightning, or because of time travel, his body shrank from 20 years old to 10 years old, his hair turned white, and his eyes turned purple. Fortunately, his face is still as handsome as the 10-year-old him in his previous life. Sikong Ye is also bound to a god-level pirate system. At the beginning of the system, a sloop and a captain's skill will be presented. Filled diamond captain's skills show on the boat. The captain's life is unilaterally linked to the hull. If the hull is immortal, the captain will live forever. The 2 novice packages are very good, and the sailing boat completely solves the problem of sailing and housing. And the skills of Shou and Chuan Chi almost made Sikong Ye invincible. Sikong Ye is immortal as long as there is one piece left. Of course, if you are injured, you will be injured, and if you die, you will die, but as long as the ship is safe, Sikong Ye can be resurrected on the ship. And even if the pirate ship is completely destroyed, it's just that the skills have failed, and Sikong Ye doesn't need to be buried with the ship. Open the system panel. God-level pirate group system. Host information. Filled diamond name. Sikong Ye. Filled diamond position. Captain, only. Filled diamond strength. F-level filled diamond skills. Longevity and boat. Filled diamond features, none. Partner information. Filled diamond 7 kills, none, up to 7 people. Filled diamond breaking army. None, up to 9 people. Filled diamond greedy wolf. None, maximum 12 people. Hull information. Filled diamond ship type. Class 1 sloop. Filled diamond defense, Class F. Filled diamond power. Wind type. Filled diamond space. 30 cubic meters. Filled diamond basic. Captain's cabin X1. Anchor X1. Open deck X1. Pump X1. Water storage tank X1. Solar panel X1. Filled diamond weapon. None. Filled diamond room. Reception cabin X1. Kitchen X1. Bathroom X1. Double bedroom cabin X1. Task information. Filled diamond main line. Form a pirate group. Filled diamond routine. Recruit partners. Filled diamond achievements. Total wealth over 10,000. Filled diamond achievements. Total rewards over 10,000. Filled diamond subline. Name the pirate group. Filled diamond subline. Name the pirate ship. Filled diamond subline. Draw the pirate flag. To become stronger quickly, Sikong Ye's primary goal is to complete the main task, to form a pirate group. To form a pirate group, you need to complete the corresponding pre-tasks, such as recruiting at least one partner, naming the pirate group, naming the pirate ship, drawing the pirate flag, and more. The captain's room has a black tech navigator, which can view a map with a radius of 100 kilometers, and the corresponding place names are also marked. Sikong Ye found that the nearest village happened to be Windmill Village. After the inquiry system learned that the current sea circle calendar is 1510, it immediately came up with the idea of attracting the future One Piece to become a partner. After entering the tavern, Sikong Ye was sure that Luffy fully met the system's recruitment requirements from the first moment he saw Luffy. Potential partner, Monkey D. Luffy. Available positions, Team 7 kills. Assessment of combat power, F rank, included features, none. Chapter 002. Luffy boards the boat, and the fruit of face is the real hammer. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Ha ha ha, you kid, can you swim? Don't the boat capsize and drown in the sea? With your small body, it's all about giving Marine a head, ha ha ha. Shanks slapped the front desk of the tavern with his belly in his arms, laughing hard. Behind the bar, a green-haired girl wearing a yellow mesh turban covered her mouth and chuckled, thinking that this little customer was very interesting. Are you really going to take me out to sea? Great, I can be a pirate? Luffy exclaimed excitedly, dancing on the bar chair. Gah! The laughter stopped abruptly. All the red-hair pirates stared at Luffy in disbelief, with that look on their faces like you're kidding me. Without the company of adults, 2 little kids want to go to sea? Ding! Regular task. Recruiting partners. The first ring has been completed. Please choose Devil Fruit. Option 1. Thunder Fruit. Option 2. Mera Mera Fruit. Option 3. Dark Fruit. Sikong Ye. Seeing the 3 devil fruits on the translucent screen in front of him, Sikong Ye was stunned. Let me go, the reward for a regular recruitment task is so pervert? At the beginning, the top Logia among devil fruits will be given away, and these 3 Logia fruits are all familiar to Sikong Ye. He remembered that in the original book, Thor Enel was the thunder fruit eaten around 1514. And Ace is the Mera Mera fruit that was eaten after going to sea at the age of 17 around 1517. After Blackbeard Teach killed Whitebeard's 4th team captain Sage around 1520, he snatched dark fruit from the opponent and took it. Therefore, these 3 Logia devil fruits have not been eaten yet. Sikong Ye thought for a moment and decided to choose dark fruit. As the option is completed, the option interface also dissipates, and the dark fruit enters the system space, ready to be extracted at any time. Regardless of the powerful thunder fruit and Mera Mera fruit in the original book, in fact the most powerful is the power of darkness, the power of black holes. Moreover, dark fruit also has the effect of absorbing other devil fruits, so you can try to get some devil fruits for your friends to use in the future. System. I ate dark fruit, will there be a second dark fruit in One Piece world? Sikong Ye asked in his heart. Back to host, only one devil fruit can exist at the same time. After receiving the reply from the system, Sikong Ye silently mourned for Blackbeard for 2 seconds. Dormant in the Whitebeard pirates for more than 10 years, waiting for a lonely. And without dark fruit's Blackbeard, there's no chance to launch Summit War. Perhaps I could stage a Blackbeard version of Summit War? Sikong Ye muttered to himself. Just when Luffy wanted to pull the pensive Sikong Ye out to sea immediately, Shanks stopped him in the tavern with one hand. Shanks, what do you mean? Luffy stared at Shanks angrily. Sikong Ye, who came back to his senses, also stared at the red hair indifferently. Although he doesn't dislike Shanks, he has always maintained due caution against a mystic who is trying to maintain world peace. Luffy, you are too young to go on a long voyage. Seeing that Shanks started to meddle in other people's business again, Sikong Ye became unhappy immediately and interrupted immediately. Hey, 7 years old is not young. I heard that you boarded the ship of One Piece Luogia when you were more than 10 years old. Shanks narrowed his eyes slightly, and an invisible aura spread from the tavern, while Luffy's eyes burst out with little stars. Shanks, you are actually a crew member of One Piece Luogia, so cool. Don't be envious, Luffy, you are the man who will become the One Piece in the future. Sikong Ye's relief made Luffy almost jump up with excitement. That's right, I've decided that I not only want to go out to sea to be a pirate, but also to become the king of the pirates, so that I can surpass Shanks. Luffy's little face was full of determination. Seeing this scene, Sikong Ye smiled knowingly. Luffy, who doesn't target One Piece, is soulless. In the original book, Shanks was supposed to be Luffy's guide, but now it is replaced by Sikong Ye. Seeing his beloved inheritor being snatched away, Shanks suddenly felt worse than eating a fly. In addition, Sikong Ye made it clear that he had stayed on Luogia's boat, but became more vigilant and firmly refused to allow Luffy to board the boat. Sorry, I don't worry about Luffy leaving with someone of unknown origin. Speaking of the history, I'm curious why Luogia let a teenage boy join his pirate team. Sikong Ye didn't wait for Shanks to respond, and continued talking to himself. I heard people say that you are a person with the ability to save face, and you say, please give me face, when you meet people. Could it be that you just asked Luogia to give you face before you boarded the boat? Shanks. Beckman. Yasop. Lucky Roo. The crew. In an instant, the entire tavern could hear a needle drop. All members of Red Hair Pirates came to a sudden. No wonder their boss asks people to give him face when they meet. It turns out that the boss has the ability to save face. The truth. Makino covered his mouth and stared at Shanks with surprise in his eyes. Seeing the reaction of his partners and Makino, Shanks's head was full of black lines. Chapter 003 Bandit King Sig joins in, with an aura of 80 billion. I have never eaten the fruit of face. Shanks argued. Whoever you are, Luffy is a friend of our red hair pirates, and I will never let him go to sea as a pirate before he has no power to protect himself. You are really lenient, no wonder people always say that you are a pirate, but you always work as a peace ambassador. Sikong Ye pouted. He is also a person with the fruit of face ability and an ambassador of peace. Shanks' face is as black as the bottom of a pot. Which bastard made his rumors? Could it be Buggy? Ha ha ha, when did you become a peace ambassador, Captain? Why don't we know? Usopp and others were amused. Shanks yelled angrily. It must be that Buggy guy. Boom. At this time, the small door of the tavern was kicked open. Everyone's attention was instantly attracted. Excuse me. I saw a man dressed sloppily, with 2 interlaced scars on his forehead and a small beard on his chin, walking in with a slightly inferior pace than Doflamingo. The person who came was none other than the famous bandit king Sig. Behind the man, there are a group of boys wearing turbans. Seeing the appearance of the bandit king, Sikong Ye silently retreated to the corner to watch. He didn't want to be accidentally injured. So this is a pirate. It's the first time I've seen it. It looks so stupid. Seeger laughed at the crowd as soon as he opened his mouth, which instantly cooled the scene down. Welcome. Makino greeted Sig dutifully. We're not here to rob today. Sell us 10 barrels of bar. Sig stroked his beard with a high face. I'm very sorry, the wine is sold out. Makino showed an apologetic yet polite smile. Oh, that's really strange. Are these people drinking horse urine? Sig pointed to the pirates present. Puff. Hearing Sig's bad description, many pirates who were drinking spit it out on the spot, and looked at Sig more and more unkindly. Makino said with a smile, because the wine sold now is all. I'm really sorry, it seems that we drank all the wine here. If you don't mind, here's the bottle for you. Saying that, Shanks handed Seeger an unopened bottle of wine, with a bright smile. Do me a favor, just treat it as a friend. All the pirates were speechless for a while. Boss, you really are a fruit of face ability. Seeger, however, glared at the red-haired Shanks with his large and small eyes. Straw hat, shirt, flip-flops. At first glance, he looked like a naive farmer with his face facing the lowest and his back facing the sky, with a few hoe strengths. I guess it was because of last year's drought that there was no harvest and I couldn't survive, so I ran to become a pirate. You are worthy of making friends with the big bandit. I am offering a reward of 8 million? Seeger offered a reward of 8 million and expressed the confidence of 80 billion. He punched the beer bottle and his face was so gloomy that he wanted to drop water. A bottle of wine is not enough, lousy gargle, are you insulting me? The wine was spilled all over the floor, and fragments of beer bottles were scattered everywhere. Shanks looked embarrassed. Oh, the floor is wet. Excuse me, Miss Makino, do you have a rag? I'll just wipe it off. Makino hurried forward. Swish. Wipe it. After smashing all the wine bottles on the bar with a knife, Seeger said coldly. Since you like to wipe the floor very much, I'll let you wipe as much as you want. After saying that, Sig turned around and left, and the bandit brothers also left the tavern. Sikong Ye doesn't comment on Shanks' behavior, but if it were him, he wouldn't let Seeger jump in front of him. But strictly speaking, Shanks is also responsible for this matter. Sig and a group of bandits came to buy wine, but Shanks handed Sig a bottle of wine despite knowing that there were a lot of them. This is not a provocation. Just a bottle of wine, is that enough? A dozen bandits each licked the bottle cap, not even enough to quench their thirst. The bandit king also wants face, and it is completely normal to go crazy on the spot. Of course, it may also be that Shanks saw that Seeger kicked the small door of the tavern and wanted to vent his anger on Makino, deliberately finding fault. It's a pity that Sig just smashed a few wine bottles and didn't touch Shanks' bottom line, so it's not easy for Shanks to do it directly. Of course, the above are all Sikong Ye's malicious brain supplements to Shanks. In the silent atmosphere, as Shanks laughed first, the entire red hair pirates returned to the previous lively atmosphere. This scene completely pissed off Luffy and immediately snarled. How can you still laugh? Don't you feel ashamed? Why don't you fight them? Even if the other party looks very strong, but he can still laugh when being bullied by others, he is not a man at all. He is not worthy of being a pirate. Seeing Luffy angry, Shanks, the obvious victim, comforted Luffy. It's just being splashed with wine, so there's no need to be angry at all. HMPH, I'm ignoring you, Luffy, who lost his temper, snorted and turned his head arrogantly. My eyes just caught sight of the rubber fruit in the box on the bar, and I picked it up and ate it without thinking about it. It seems to take this to vent their anger. I heard that devil fruit smells like excrement, and Luffy can be considered a hero if he can eat it without changing his face and stirring his heart. Chapter 004. Luffy whores for nothing rubber fruit, let's have a good party. Sikong Ye watched the whole process and did not intervene to stop him. Anyway, Luffy is already his partner, why not eat a devil fruit from red hair pirates for free? What's more, the initial setting of rubber fruit is 5 billion Baileys, which is equivalent to op fruit. And this is the fruit the protagonist eats. How could it be simple? Otherwise Shanks and others would not have brought it with them. But to be honest, Sikong Ye is quite mysterious that Luffy can eat rubber fruit under the watchful eyes of red hair pirates. Sea treasures like rubber fruit are usually put on the pirate ship or kept close to the pirates after they get them. In contrast, Red Hair Pirates not only did not put the rubber fruit on the boat, but instead took it to Makino's tavern and placed it on the bar counter grandly. Just a hand away from Luffy. The most ridiculous thing is that the box containing the rubber fruit is not locked. This is not something that can be fooled by an accident. And Shanks is not without a criminal record. Once on the Luogia boat, Shanks greeted Buggy from behind when he was about to run away, scaring Buggy to hide the devil fruit in his mouth. Then Buggy came back to say hello after he thought he had left, scaring Buggy into swallowing the chop fruit. It would be unbelievable if the two accidents separated by more than 10 years were coincidences. Come to think of it, the reason why Buggy still has a lot of resentment towards Shanks after so many years. In addition to causing him to eat chop fruit and lose the treasure map because of Shanks, it is estimated that he has already seen that Shanks has intentional suspicions. What's even more incredible is that both chop fruit and rubber fruit have some effect of Logia elementalization. Chop fruit is not afraid of sharp blades, and rubber fruit is not afraid of blunt weapons. The two combined into one, isn't it just the effect of elementalization not afraid of physical attacks? But these two fruits were, accidentally, fed to Buggy and Luffy by Shanks. If it wasn't premeditated, no one would believe it. Hey, who is that? Let's go to see now. Luffy, who ate rubber fruit, panicked not long after Shanks et al. And quickly recovered from the bad news that he could only be a landlubber for the rest of his life. Then he pulled Sikong Ye in a hurry and was about to set sail. My name is Sikong Ye, and I'm your captain. Sikong Ye corrected Luffy. I understand Captain Sikong, let's go to sea now. No, Shanks picked up Luffy and refused firmly. Unexpectedly, the dignified captain of the Red Hair Pirates is actually a bully. Why didn't you see you being so tough when you were bullied by the Bandit King just now? Sikong Ye is not stingy with his contempt. Now facing me and Luffy, two weak children, you start to put on the airs of a ship pirate. You are really majestic. That's right, Shanks, why didn't you hit that Bandit King? And why didn't you let me go to sea? Luffy gets angry when he thinks about what happened just now. Now seeing Shanks thwarting his dream, it made him even angrier. What a god, the Bandit King. The corner of Shanks' mouth twitched wildly, and a mere 8 million bounty is worthy of being called Bandit King. The other pirates in the tavern were also speechless. This king is a bit cheap. Your name is Sikong Ye, right? Both you and Luffy are too young. Pirates are not as beautiful as you imagined, and Marine will not let you go on messing around. Do you really have the confidence and determination to become pirates now? Ignoring Luffy's questioning, Shanks looked at Sikong Ye seriously. Don't worry about it, my decision will not change, and I believe Luffy will not give up chasing her dream. Sikong Ye's expression was equally serious and focused. The two looked at each other for a long time, and everyone in the tavern remained silent just right. Just when Makino thought that the two sides were about to spark, Shanks suddenly changed his previous attitude and said with a smile, in that case, then Luffy will take care of you. But don't leave today, stay and let's have a banquet together. Ooh, banquet, banquet, Shanks' crew howled with excitement. Sikong Ye was a little surprised by the sudden change in Shanks' attitude. But he didn't care about it, but he was very interested in the banquet that Shanks said. In fact, Sikong Ye has not eaten for 3 days. Now that Shanks is hosting a banquet, if he doesn't take the opportunity to grab a meal, isn't it a disappointment to Shanks' good intentions? The banquet lasted from morning to night, and Luffy was very excited about going to sea, so he drank a lot of wine while Makino was not paying attention. At this moment, he has passed out drunk under an unknown wine table. In the end, it was the kind-hearted Makino who sent Luffy back home after being drunk and unconscious. Seeing that the banquet was coming to an end, Sikong Ye greeted Makino, the proprietress of the tavern, and asked her to help tell Luffy to gather at the port tomorrow morning, and then plan to leave. But before leaving, Sikong Ye packed a lot of meat and fruit on the table. I also asked Shanks for a white cloth and a small amount of paint by the way. Closing parenthesis. Chapter 005 Eating Dark Fruit, the division of combat power in the system. Opening parenthesis. This kind of shameless act of eating and packing has caused many jokes among pirates. Hearing the laughter in the tavern from afar, Sikong Ye just smiled and walked towards his family's sloop. Sikong Ye, who had just crossed over, was penniless, and sailed on the sea for 3 days, with no food or water on the sailboat, which made him have a deep understanding of hunger and thirst. Now that I have the opportunity to eat, is it possible to drink northwest wind in the next few days if I don't pack it? Walking slowly all the way with her chubby belly, Sikong Ye came to the port. The sloop quietly crawled on the shore. Its whole body was made of ultra-light and thin alloy materials, and it could reach a maximum speed of 30 kilometers per hour driven by wind. After stepping onto the sailing boat and putting the packed food into the kitchen cabinet, Sikong Ye lay down on the sofa in the cabin. Like a salted fish that doesn't want to turn over. The cabin is 4 meters long, 3 meters wide and 2 meters high, with a sofa on each side and a stainless steel coffee table in the middle. An electric lamp with a relatively weak light hangs from the top. On the left side of the cabin is a long and narrow kitchen, except for the cabinets, there is only a stove. However, Without firewood and matches, which are necessary fuels and ignition devices for cooking, is it useless to have a stove. On the right is a bathroom that is narrower than the kitchen, with a toilet, sink, water heater, and shower head. Just a bit cramped. Fortunately, there is a water pump on the sailboat, which can draw seawater for bathing or flushing the toilet. The navigators, water pumps and electric lights all come from solar panels. Inside the reception cabin is the double-bedroom cabin, which is about the size of a wardrobe, and there is nothing else except the upper and lower beds. Sikong Ye extracted the Vice Admiral dark fruit from the system space, and repeatedly looked at the lavender spiral fruit in his hand. After pondering for a long time, he finally took a bite. Sure enough, it was as unpalatable as the rumors said. After just taking a small bite, Sikong Ye instantly had the urge to spit out all the contents in his stomach. Fortunately, I held back in the end. As for the remaining dark fruit, Sikong Ye directly threw it out of the window. Devil fruit only needs to eat one bite to gain abilities, and eating more will have no effect. Although the side effects of devil fruit will become Sikong Ye's shortcoming, he doesn't care. Devil's Spawn Bullet works out by pounding the seastone walls and impel down eternal hell. When Luffy and Kid are trapped in the rabbit bowl, they can still explode with amazing strength even with the seastone on them. These two cases all prove that the side effects of devil fruit can be overcome. Even if you still can't use the fruit ability, at least the basic mobility is enough to guarantee. Open the system panel, Sikong Ye said silently in his heart. God-level pirate group system. Host information. Filled diamond name, Sikong Ye. Filled diamond position, Captain. Filled diamond strength, F rank. Filled diamond skills, longevity in boat. Filled diamond characteristics, dark fruit 1%. Partner information, filled diamond 7 kills, Luffy unboarded. Filled diamond breaking army, none. Filled diamond greedy wolf, none. Hull information, do not expand if there is no change. Task information, do not expand if there is no change. There is an extra dark fruit in the feature column, and Sikong Ye copied Blackbeard's moves and tried a few times. Soon, he mastered the skills of Dark Water, Dark Cave, Liberation and Dark Energy. It's just that with Sikong Ye's current physical strength, he collapsed after only 2 minutes of practice. Although the combat power has been upgraded from F class to F class, the battery life is still not enough. Sikong Ye sighed with emotion. The system roughly divides the combat power of One Piece world into 9 levels, from the lowest F level to the highest SSS level. Filled Diamond F grade, the strength of Marine soldiers. Filled Diamond E level, Marine non-commissioned officer strength. Filled Diamond D grade, Marine lieutenant strength. Filled Diamond C level, Marine officer strength. Filled Diamond level B, equivalent to the strength of a general below Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. Filled Diamond Class A, equivalent to the strength of Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. Filled Diamond S rank, equivalent to the strength of Shichibukai, General Star and Emperor's Deputy. Filled Diamond SS level, equivalent to Admiral's Candidate and Admiral's strength. Filled Diamond SSS level, equivalent to the strength of unknown powerhouses such as 4 Emperors, One Piece, and IM, and belongs to the ceiling level combat power of One Piece in the world. Of course, this division is not accurate, many people have vacancies but they are noobs. There are also people whose strength far exceeds their own abilities. For example, Marine Vice Admiral Garp, and Shichibukai Hawkeye Mihawk, both of them have at least Admiral level strength. Sikong Ye reckons that he needs to have at least the strength of a school official in order to be able to display dark fruit flexibly and freely for a long time. System. What does the mark, unboarded, after Luffy's name mean? Sikong Ye set his sights on Luffy's suffix. Back to host. Every new partner will receive a boarding gift package from the system after boarding for the first time. This is because I am afraid that the strength of the crew will improve too slowly, so I will send cheat at the beginning. System. There is another question, why is Luffy assigned to 7 kills? Sikong Ye is quite curious about this. Chisha, Pojun and Tanlang 3 stars are all from Ziwei Dushu. When the 3 sides and 4 sides meet in the Palace of Fate, it is the so-called pattern of killing and breaking wolves. The pattern of killing the wolf represents turbulence and change. People with this destiny will wander throughout their lives, with ups and downs, but they have the heroic physique to become famous in one fell swoop. Chapter 006. Destroy the wolf pattern and obtain a seawater purification device. The 7 killing star is the 6th star of the Southern Dipper, known as the General Star in ancient books, who is the most powerful when he meets the Emperor, and has the strongest personality and is unique. It means the thief who disturbs the world, and symbolizes the mighty and brave master to kill. The Pojun star is the 7th star of the Big Dipper, and it is called the Consumption Star in ancient books. It means the general who will rule the world, and symbolizes the turmoil and destruction. Greedy Wolf Star is the 1st star of the Big Dipper, known as Killing Star and Peach Blossom Star in ancient books, versatile, sociable, and resourceful. It means treacherous and treacherous people, and symbolizes desire to master misfortune and fortune. Sikong Ye went through the Shipolong layout in his memory, but he still doesn't know the purpose of the system's arrangement. Returning to the host, the 7 kills team is mainly responsible for the external struggle. People with big dreams, great perseverance and great luck are not qualified for the job. Luffy just meets the corresponding conditions. The Pojun squad is mainly responsible for managing the operations of the 9 affiliated pirate groups. They need people with flexible minds and brave fighters. Team Greedy Wolf is an all-round talent that integrates diplomacy, support, logistics, support and protection of pirate ships, and is in charge of the 12 spells. After listening to the system's explanation, Sikong Ye suddenly realized. In general, the 7 kills belong to the extreme single soldier, the Pojun is similar to Captain Fan, and the Tanlang is the master of the 12 spells, and it is also the last line of defense that the pirates must never break. Since the system has designed the 7 kills, Pojun, and Greedy Wolf teams, let's name the pirate group the Zwei Pirates. Sikong Ye decided on the name of the pirate group straightforwardly. Zwei Star is the North Star, known as the Lord of Fighting Numbers, also known as Zwei Emperor Star, and those who have this destiny are the Emperor's capital. Ding. Side mission. Naming the pirate group has been completed. Please choose the hull facility. Option 1. A compact refrigerator. Option 2. Hand fan. Option 3. Multifunctional induction cooker. Seeing that the reward was no longer devil fruit, Sikong Ye was a little puzzled. After asking, the system gave a standard answer. Return to the host. Every time you complete a stage of the main mission, you will be rewarded with a hull upgrade. Every time you complete a regular mission, you will be rewarded with a devil fruit. Every stage of the wealth achievement mission is rewarded with a captain's skill. Every stage of the bounty achievement mission is rewarded with a captain's characteristic. Every time you complete a side mission, you will be rewarded with a hull facility. Recruiting members of the army breaking team can unlock the corresponding attached pirate ship. The crew can get a boarding gift bag if they board the ship. If the reward exceeds 100 million, they can get a fame gift bag. If the reward exceeds 1 billion, they can get a gift bag for the strong. With a series of instructions from the system, Sikong Ye basically understood the function of the mission module. I choose a multi-function induction cooker. Sikong Ye chooses option 3 directly, and cooked food can be cooked on board in the future. The pirate group is called Zwei, so the pirate ship is called the Emperor Star. Sikong Ye, who completes the first side quest, takes the second one right after. Ding. The side mission. Naming the pirate ship has been completed. Please select the hull facilities. Option 1. Kitchen set. Option 2. A small grill. Option 3. Seawater purification device. Hearing the seawater purification device, Sikong Ye's eyes lit up. It has a seawater purification device that can purify seawater into pure water. In other words, when Sikong Ye sails at sea in the future, he no longer has to worry about running out of water. So Sikong Ye decisively chose option 3. With the seawater purification device, the sloop is instantly upgraded from water scarcity to water abundance. And Sikong Ye is now a demon fruit power, bathing in sea water is not a problem. When the system indicated that the installation was complete, Sikong Ye immediately ran to the kitchen and turned on the faucet. After taking a sip, he found that there was no salty smell. Not only that, these waters are as sweet and delicious as mountain springs. The seawater purification device has been integrated into the sailboat, and wherever there is water, pure water can flow. Taking advantage of the pure water on board, Sikong Ye simply took a hot bath. Sikong Ye sat down comfortably on the sofa in the cabin, and took out the white cloth and paint that he had just obtained from Red Hair Pirates. Ready to complete the task of drawing the pirate flag. Under the conception of Sikong Ye, the background of the pirate flag is blue, which not only implies the vast sea, but also symbolizes the endless night sky. In the middle is a regular white skull and 2 crossed bones, which symbolizes success and death. 28 cross stars are dotted around the skull, symbolizing the 28 partners that will be on the main ship of the Zwei Pirates. The doji surrounds the skull in roughly 3 circles, with 7 dojis in the outer circle, 9 in the middle, and 12 in the inner circle. Representing the 3 teams of Chapelang respectively. There is a purple crown on the skull, which symbolizes Zwei Dixing, and the 3 colored gemstones inlaid on the crown also symbolize the Chapelang team. After the pirate flag was hoisted on the mast, a notification sound came that the task was completed. Ding. The side mission. Drawing the pirate flag has been completed. Please select the hull facility. Option 1. Kitchen set. Option 2. A small flashlight. Option 3. 3 spare canvases. Chapter 007 The new skill Yumi Xuanling, the bandit king wants to make trouble. Sikong Ye pondered for 2 seconds, and chose a more practical kitchen set. Then opened the system panel and find that the branch tasks have been updated. Filled Diamond Branch Line. Hunt the king of the offshore. Filled Diamond Branch Line. Go to sea with the crew. Filled Diamond Sub Line. Fight with the pirates. He. As long as these 3 side missions are completed, all the prerequisites for the main mission are basically completed. Thinking about completing the main task, Sikong Ye fell asleep happily. The sailing boat was simply locked, and he wasn't worried that someone would touch the boat and commit an assassination attempt. Anyway, as long as the boat wasn't destroyed, he wouldn't die. In the early morning of the next day, Sikong Ye got up early, washed up, and while waiting for Luffy to board the boat, he exercised according to Saitama's method. Sikong Ye is wearing it. With his 10-year-old physique, it is not bad to be able to complete Saitama's training standards. Physical fitness like Luffy needs to be multiplied by at least 10 times to have the effect of exercise. There are many fishing boats docked at the port, and the sailing boats are about the same size as fishing boats, so they have not attracted attention. On the contrary, the red force of red-hair pirates stands out from the crowd. Whenever someone goes out to sea and enters Hong Kong, he will unconsciously glance at it. At this time, the crew of red-hair pirates were carrying supplies to the ship. Seeing this, Sikong Ye was slightly taken aback. Shanks is leaving today. It's probably around this time in the original book. Besides, Luffy has been poached by Sikong Ye, so it doesn't make sense for Shanks to stay in Windmill Village. Yo, Sikong Ye, your boat is not bad. Shanks, who was commanding the crew, also saw Sikong Ye and the sailboat under Sikong Ye's feet, and couldn't help admiring. Of course, my ship is more powerful than Pluton, one of the 3 ancient weapons. It is the only one in the whole sea, and there is no other colony. Sikong Ye is very proud of his car. Even if someone offered Pluton in exchange, he would not agree. That's really amazing. Shanks smiled. If it were him, he would feel that his red force is better than Pluton. After that, the two of them had nothing to say, and Sikong Ye exercised silently. Not long after, Luffy ran towards the port with short legs. Sikong Ye saw Luffy at a glance and jumped off the boat to meet Luffy. Luffy was also delighted to see Sikong Ye, and ran forward to hand Sikong Ye a stack of banknotes in his hand. We definitely need money to go to sea, so I took all the money that Grandpa left at home. Looking at the tens of thousands of Baileys in his hand, Sikong Ye really admired Luffy's big heart. Are you not afraid that he will abscond with the money? Accepting Bailey, Sikong Ye patted Luffy on the shoulder lightly and said, I will accept the money. Since you are here, let's go. Wait, I haven't greeted everyone in the village yet, Captain, please wait for me a little longer. After speaking, Luffy disappeared again. Seeing this, Sikong Ye smiled. This is really not afraid of him running away. Ding. Achievement mission. The total wealth has exceeded 10,000 has been completed. Please choose the captain skill. Option 1. Yumi Ship Spirit. Option 2. Delivery by Super Distance Ship. Option 3. Chat with the Soul Ship. Sikong Ye looked at the 3 translucent options floating in front of his eyes, and at the same time, the specific effects of the 3 skills appeared below. Filled Diamond Yumi Ship Spirit. The captain can possess any crew member. The possessed person will not die, and the captain cannot launch attacks or be attacked. At the same time, the attributes of the possessed person's body will be correspondingly increased. Filled Diamond Ultra Distance Ship Delivery. The captain can ship the ship to the Emperor Star or the crew anytime and anywhere, and it can only be used once per natural day. Filled Diamond Spiritual Ship Chat. The captain can communicate with the crew in a group chat or private chat, and cannot be eavesdropped by anyone by any means. After reading the introduction, Sikong Ye directly chose Yumi Xuanling. There are tens of millions of options, and life-saving is the first. The first choice of life-saving skills is absolutely right. Putting the money given by Luffy into the system space, Sikong Ye continued to exercise. However, after 2 hours, Luffy never appeared again. Luffy is not Zoro, so he shouldn't get lost. Sikong Ye suddenly had a bad premonition, and suddenly thought of a possibility. In the future, the One Piece King Luffy will not be on the bar with the One Piece King Sig, right? At this moment, a villager came to the port and shouted to Shanks and others, the big thing is bad, Luffy has provoked the bandit King Sig. Shanks was shocked when he heard the words, and he jumped to the side of the villagers, urging, take me there. The red-haired party left the port in a hurry under the leadership of the villagers. But the pirates are still a little speechless, as the name of the pirate king Sig spread throughout the entire Windmill Village. Sikong Ye also followed quickly, but with his short legs and fighting 5 slag physique, he couldn't catch up with Shanks and others at all. Yumi's boat spirit skills can only take effect if you can see them, and you can't rush to Luffy quickly. If you knew it, you would have chosen teleportation. Sikong Ye complained while running. When Sikong Ye arrived at the destination, the battle was over, and only Sikong, a bare-handed commander, was left struggling with Luffy. Knowing the plot, Sikong Ye quickly shouted to Shanks and others, kill Sig, the Thief King, and don't let him get away. Chapter 008 The face slap came unexpectedly, conquerors broke out. Red hair pirates and others didn't know why. Shanks smiled even more relaxedly. Don't worry, this guy is already caught in the urn, everything is under control. Sig glared at Sikong Ye viciously, immediately used smoke bombs, and left quietly with Luffy. Sikong Ye glared at Shanks with contempt, then ran towards the port. Next, Seeger will probably take Luffy on board according to the original book. When Sikong Ye ran away, Shanks was still in place and didn't recover. Who I am? Where am I? What did I just say? As expected of the Bandit King, he escaped from the captain's hands. Usopp teased, and the rest of the crew also laughed. He just said that everything was under control, but in an instant he slapped his face crazily. Another embarrassing thing about my boss. Let's have a party to celebrate. Shanks is worthy of being a fruit of face ability, his skin is thicker than red line, he recovered quickly and smiled helplessly. Let's not talk about that, Luffy is not out of danger yet, let's go over and have a look. When Sikong Ye came to the port, Seed had already taken Luffy out to sea in a boat, and happened to be swallowed by the king of the sea who surfaced to breathe fresh air. The legend of the Bandit King came to an end. Sure enough, the Bandit King should stay on the mountain honestly. From the moment he went into the sea, it meant that the legend of the Bandit King came to an end. Seeing that Luffy was about to be swallowed by the king of the near sea, Sikong Ye immediately cast the Yumi ship spirit, dodging to Luffy's head. Just in time to see Shanks coming in while casting Moonwalk. Sikong Ye would not give up the chance to save Luffy to Shanks, he directly disarmed Yumi ship spirit, and kicked Luffy's chin the moment he was suspended in the air. Friends who have played football know that if you want to kick the ball high and far, the best foothold is naturally the lower half of the ball. The point is that the only part of Luffy exposed above the sea is his head, what else can he kick without kicking his chin? Sikong Ye was not strong, but it was enough to kick Luffy out of the mouth of the king of the sea. However, Sikong Ye, who had nowhere to draw on, became a living target. Luffy, who was flying in the air, saw that Sikong Ye was about to be swallowed by the king of the near sea. His eyes widened involuntarily, and an invisible aura suddenly erupted from his body, shocking the king of the sea. Conqueror's Haki. Both Sikong Ye and Shanks thought of the word at the same time. At this moment, Shanks had arrived, grabbed Luffy who was kicked away, and planned to save Sikong Ye. But Sikong Ye avoided Shanks' extended left hand, and instead reached out to the king of the sea. Originally, Sikong Ye didn't intend to deal with the king of the near sea so early. But now that the king of the sea is being caught by Luffy's conquerors, he doesn't want to miss such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Dark water. A layer of black smoke overflowed from Sikong Ye's hand, and at the same time a huge attraction erupted from his palm. With the tonnage of the king of offshore, although Sikong Ye cannot absorb it, the effect of force is mutual. Sikong Ye was pulled over instead. The moment he touched the head of the king of the sea, Sikong Ye exhausted all his strength to perform the secret acupuncture point. The dark cave can suck, compress and shatter objects it touches. Sikong Ye's dark fruit has not been developed for a long time, and it can only absorb objects the size of half a person, but even so, the king of the sea without half his head will undoubtedly die. Then Sikong Ye cast Yumi ship spirit again and returned to Luffy's head. The whole person completely collapsed. Ding. The side mission. Killing the king of the sea has been completed. Please select the hull facility. Option 1. Self-rocking recliner. Option 2. Binoculars. Option 3. Add an extension function to the sofa. Sikong Ye directly chooses option 3. The sofa can be used as a bed after being unfolded, and there will be no place to sleep when recruiting new partners in the future. The three of them returned to land safely, and Shanks gave Sikong Ye a complicated look. If he wasn't dazzled, Sikong Ye should have used the dark fruit ability just now. Sikong Ye doesn't care about this, even if Shanks leaks the secret, he doesn't worry, on the contrary, he still hopes that Blackbeard will come to his door. This will give him a chance to start the Blackbeard version of Summit War. This incident confirms Sikong Ye's conjecture. One Piece world itself has a certain plot correction power, but the effect is limited. Generally speaking, the plot of the original work can also be changed. In this way, Kuina, who is still alive, may be included in the crew. Also, Usopp's mother, Benchina, and Nami and Nokigao's adoptive mother, Belmel, might be able to save it too. But there are good and bad things about changing the plot. Can Luffy, who has not witnessed Shanks' broken arm, still reach the height of the original book? Without Sabo's suspended animation and Ace's sacrifice in the future, does Luffy have the potential to become One Piece? Sikong Ye didn't know, but he doesn't intend to succumb to the plot. If you have to sacrifice someone to fulfill another person's dream, it is not a pure dream, but a heavy and painful responsibility. Thanks, Captain. Because of Sikong Ye's intervention, Shanks did not become a one-armed man, and Luffy did not cry, but was sincerely grateful to Sikong Ye who sacrificed his life to save him. Chapter 009 Imagine Freedom, Luffy's boarding package. Thank you Shanks too, I will definitely repay you. Hehe, if you want to repay me, I guess it will be possible only when you surpass me. Shanks joked. Stop looking down on people, Shanks, I will definitely surpass you and become the One Piece King, and I will repay you when the time comes. Luffy roared loudly. He didn't say to repay Sikong Ye, because silence is the most solemn promise. Become the Pirate King. Shanks raised the brim of his hat with his left hand, sighed slightly, and then, as if making up his mind, he took off the straw hat and put it on Luffy's head. In this case, I will store this straw hat with you first, and return it to me intact when you surpass me and become the One Piece King. In the end, Luo Jia's straw hat was passed on to Luffy. Could it be because Luffy showed Conqueror's Haki just now? Sikong Ye was speechless. But never mind, no Luffy is complete without a straw hat. Since Shanks passed on the straw hat to Luffy, it saves him from going to the farmer in Windmill Village to borrow a straw hat of the same style. Luffy, who took the straw hat, gritted his teeth and shouted out his dream. One day, I will find a partner who can't lose to you and find the world's #1 treasure. I will definitely become the Pirate King." All the red hair pirates who had been watching looked at Luffy in unison, smiling in support while being shocked. "Oh, nice dream. Then Luffy, if you don't become the captain yourself, you will never become the Pirate King in your life." Luffy was taken aback by Shanks' words, and even Sikong Ye couldn't help but be astonished. FK. This red-haired brat is really uneasy and kind, and now he is still thinking of sowing discord. After Shanks said so, Luffy can either steal his captaincy, or he can only stand on his own. "Red hair, what you said is wrong. You don't have to be the captain to become the One Piece King, the crew can do the same." Sikong Ye speaks out to break up with Shanks, trying to change Luffy's view. Pirates are free, and One Piece is the freest person in the sea, and will not be restricted by a person's status and previous experience. As long as you reach the final island and obtain the legendary Great Secret Treasure, you are eligible to call yourself the One Piece King. All other restrictions are a blasphemy against freedom. As soon as these words came out, all the pirates including Shanks were speechless. This was the first time they had heard such shocking words. Don't judge One Piece's qualifications by status. Don't take the definition of One Piece with worldly eyes. What a straightforward truth. What a Haki manifesto. But surprisingly no one objected. Perhaps, this is the correct way to open the most free One Piece in the sea. Luffy made a hammer with his right hand and hit his left palm with a face full of enlightenment. "I see, Captain, you are so smart." Sikong Ye rolled his eyes. "It's not that I am smart, but you have never been truly free." Using some of the king's meat as a reward, Sikong Ye invited many villagers to help salvage the body of the king of the sea, and then cut it into countless pieces. Sikong Ye was filled with 1/10 of the animal meat, and the Emperor Star would not be able to hold it. After the rest of the payment was paid, it was all given to the village chief and Makino, 2 villagers who took good care of Luffy in the original book. After everything was ready, the time had come to noon. "Luffy, we are ready to go." Sikong Ye turned and walked towards the Emperor Star, and Luffy also jumped onto the sloop. At this moment, the system prompt sounded. Ding. Intern Luffy boards the ship, please choose the boarding package. Option 1. 8 inner gates. Option 2. Demon body physique. Option 3. Ryuku immortal thief. FK. Sikong Ye was shocked. Luffy's 3 boarding packages seemed to be quite powerful. Filled diamond 8 inner gates. Through unconventional, overloaded and ultra-extreme long-term training, untie the bound acupoints of the human body, and temporarily gain powerful power. The power depends on the performer himself. Filled diamond magic body physique. Possess unlimited physical strength and immortality, can devour any living body, obtain corresponding attributes, and master specific enhanced form changes. Filled diamond Ryuku immortal thief. Create a perfect absorption and digestive system based on the 5 viscera and 6 internal organs, and use the digestive system to convert food into chi, so that you will be energetic and immortal. To be honest, Sikong Ye was a little envious. It's a pity that this is a boarding package that belongs exclusively to Luffy. After choosing it, it will be directly integrated into Luffy's body. Sikong Ye can't do it even if he wants to. 8 inner gates is somewhat similar to Luffy opening 2nd gear, 3rd gear and 4th gear. It is also because the power in the unsealed body becomes stronger for a short time, but both of them are extremely exhausting, and Sikong Ye directly ruled it out. Ryukushan thief can perfectly solve Luffy's defect of burning life. But in comparison, the devil body can do the same, and it goes well with rubber fruit. After thinking about it, Sikong Ye finally chose the devil body. Hey, that's weird. I feel like my body has suddenly become a lot stronger. Luffy jumped up and down to sense the changes in his body. Sikong Ye explained. That is the boarding gift bag I gave you. As long as you continue to develop it, you will become stronger. System. Shameless, it is obviously a boarding gift bag given to the crew by this system. Chapter 010 The Emperor Star sails, halfway to dinner with Shanks. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Thank you, Captain, for not only taking me out to sea, but also giving me presents. Luffy was grateful and wanted to rush up to give Sikong Ye a bear hug, but was kicked away by the latter. Don't wipe your snot on me. With the anchor lowered, Sikong Ye is ready to set sail. Makino, the proprietress of the tavern, and many villagers stood at the pier and waved goodbye. The old village chief, Slap, tried his best to persuade Luffy to get off the boat at the port, and even put on the king bomb of Garp. Luffy shuddered subconsciously when he heard Garp's name, but still mustered up the courage to shout. Grandpa village chief, I want to go to sea. I want to be the One Piece. Being a pirate will only bring shame to the village. Slap's hand holding the cane was trembling. It's a pity that Luffy didn't care at all, and also waved goodbye to the villagers. Everyone in Windmill Village, I will miss you. Emperor Star set sail, although there are only Sikong Ye and Luffy on board at present, but Sikong Ye believes that the ship will definitely be lively in the future. Ding. The side mission. Go to sea with the crew has been completed. Please select the hull facilities. Option 1. Searchlight. Option 2. An electric kettle. Option 3. Basic seasoning. Sikong Ye decisively chose the seasoning, and then came to the captain's cabin to adjust the sailing. Fortunately, the sloop is easy to operate, and there is also a black tech navigator, which makes it extremely convenient to adjust the sails and view the chart. Sikong Ye alone can control the entire pirate ship. The first time I go to sea, the goal is to set the Shimotsuki Village. Sikong Ye intends to recruit Zoro as a partner, by the way, to see if he can save Kuina and make Kuina his partner. After sailing for about 10 minutes, Sikong Ye looked at Red Force on the side of the Emperor Star speechlessly. Do you have to follow me? It just happened to be on the way. Shanks, standing on the bow of the Red Force, smiled awkwardly. People with face fruit ability have thick skins, and they don't even draft their lies, they just open their mouths. But Sikong Ye didn't bother to pay attention to Shanks. Sikong Ye checked Luffy's personal information while the Emperor Star was in steady driving. Partner, Monkey D. Luffy. Position, Keisha Intern. Combat power, E level. Characteristics, Rubber Fruit, 1%, Demon Body, 1%, Conquerors, 1%. Luffy started with an F level power, but after eating Rubber Fruit and gaining the Devil's Body, he jumped to E level strength. 2 grades above Sikong Ye. In the final analysis, Sikong Ye's physical fitness is too poor. Even with the Dark Fruit enhancement, there is still a gap between him and Luffy. And the 1% Devil's Physique is not weak, but Luffy's ability development and combat experience are almost a blank slate, otherwise the combat power will be even higher. In Sikong Ye's eyes, Luffy is the ultimate individual soldier of Zwei pirates, who must exercise for a long time every day. Starting today, I will arrange a physical training plan for you. 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 squats, and 100-kilometer long distance running every day. If you can't finish it, don't sleep. Okay, Luffy readily agreed. Luffy, who survived to the age of 7 under Mr. Garp's pervert method, has many times stronger physical fitness than Sikong Ye. For these exercises, it is natural. And Sikong Ye continued the previous exercise. An hour and a half later, Sikong Ye completed a Saitama workout package, and Luffy barely managed 1,000 push-ups. 1% of the Devil's Physique can't reach the level of vigorous energy without eating or drinking. Seeing that Luffy was so hungry that his chest was on his back, he took out the food he had packed from Shanks' banquet last night. In just a moment, he was eaten up by Luffy. Witnessing Luffy's terrifying appetite with his own eyes, Sikong Ye was lost in thought. Although 1/10 of the animal meat of the King of the Sea is enough to eat, it is not as delicious as prostitution. That's it, I'm going to have dinner with the red hair pirates, who always follow me like a ghost. In the afternoon, Luffy continued to train wildly, and did not complete all the projects until 6 in the evening. And Sikong Ye completed the second round of the Saitama workout package. Seeing Luffy collapsed on the deck like a dead dog, Sikong Ye decisively threw Luffy onto the Red Force. Then, a Yumi boat spirit himself, also came to Luffy. What are you doing here? Shanks and others who were having a banquet were puzzled when they saw Sikong Ye and Luffy coming. Of course, the more people there are at the banquet, the more lively it will be. Our Zwei pirates will also come to join us. While responding, Sikong Ye pulled Luffy to sit at the dining table and started eating. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the food on the table was gone, and Shanks wanted to stop a few times when he saw this. However, Sikong Ye really doesn't eat much, but Luffy seems to have a food intake comparable to that of a titan. But Luffy is his friend again. In desperation, he could only watch helplessly as food enough to feed dozens of people fell into Luffy's mouth. So full. Shanks, thank you for treating me to dinner. Rough nerves. After thanking Luffy, he followed Sikong Ye back to the Emperor Star. Because he was too tired, he washed up and fell asleep soon. Chapter 011 Garp is coming to East Blue, encountering the crushing pirates. Sikong Ye didn't rush to sleep, but came to the captain's cabin to confirm the course, and after some fine-tuning, he took another round of Saitama exercise package. It wasn't until early morning that Sikong Ye finished his training, took a quick shower, and fell asleep. Sikong Ye slept on the upper bunk, while Luffy slept on the lower bunk. Although Luffy snored loudly, he couldn't wake up the exhausted Sikong Ye. On the second day at sea, Sikong Ye completed 3 rounds of the Saitama workout package as usual, and Luffy increased it to 20 rounds. Because they are used to the delicious food on the red-haired ship, the two of Sikong Ye ate and drank on the Red Force for lunch and dinner. The third day, day 4. On the 5th day, Shanks seemed to be unable to stand Sikong Ye's shameless rubbish, and Luffy's bottomless appetite. Decisively parted ways with Zwei pirates. Captain, should we go back to New World next? After parting with Luffy, Lucky Roo came to ask Shanks with meat in his mouth. However, Shanks shook his head. No hurry, let's follow up secretly to see the situation. Why? Lucky Roo was puzzled. If you want to follow, why separate? Usopp, who was leaning against the side of the boat, wiped his pistol meticulously, and said with a smile, Boss is probably afraid of being poured by Luffy, so he avoided them, ha 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 ha. Everyone also laughed. Beckman, who has the same Nasolabine pattern as Uchiha Itachi, shook his head. Our captain is not so stingy. Everyone was puzzled, but Beckman did not continue to speak, and looked deeply at the direction in which the Zwei pirates were going away. Windmill Village, the home of the old village chief. Slap sat on the chair, hesitated for a long time, and finally took out a phone bug. I have to tell that old guy Garp about Luffy's going to sea no matter what. I hope Luffy has stayed away from Windmill Village these days, right? Although the old village chief scolded the pirates, he actually cared about Luffy very much. He has seen Luffy's determination to go to sea, and he has also seen Luffy's captain. He is a good captain who is willing to die for Luffy. So he let Luffy go to sea. But he and Garp have been friends for many years, and he can't justify it without telling him. So I waited for Luffy to leave for several days before contacting Garp, hoping that Luffy would run away. Boo 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 boo. Naval Headquarters. Marineford. In an office, Garp leisurely eats the senbei he brought in from Sengoku, making the sound of clicking from time to time. Hearing the exclusive phone bug ringing, Garp was taken aback for a moment, and then connected immediately. Hey, Slap, are you calling me to tell me that brat Luffy is in trouble again? Garp, your grandson Luffy has gone to sea to become a pirate. Slap showed a look of dismay. Hearing that Luffy was going to sea as a pirate, Garp couldn't help but crush the senbei in his hand into powder. That guy with the red hair is so brave, he dared to kidnap my lovely grandson. That's right, that guy Shanks has been pushing Luffy to go out to sea, and even gave Luffy a devil fruit. The old village head pinned all the blame on Shanks. What? The red-haired guy is really damned, the old man will never spare him. After speaking, Garp hung up the phone directly and shouted towards the door. Bogart, prepare the boat. The old man is going to take leave now to go back to East Blue to see my lovely grandson, and take care of that red-haired kid by the way. Captain Dia, I found an unremarkable boat in front of me. There are 2 children on board. Do you want us to? Hee hee. On a pirate ship, the watchman found the trace of the Zwei pirates and quickly informed the captain. Ha ha ha, we are lucky to smash the pirate group. The little ones approached the boat, snatched all the valuables, and the children caught them and sold them to the slave traders. The leader of the 3-meter-strong man swung a huge hammer with both hands, with a hideous scar running through his entire face, and his grinning appearance would definitely stop children from crying at night. Yes, the crew did not dare to neglect and responded quickly. They are well aware of the captain's temper. If the captain is displeased, their lives may be lost. Just when Smash Pirates discovered the traces of Zwei pirates, Sikong Ye also noticed the other party and frowned. It was the first time for Luffy to meet pirates other than them and the Red Hair pirates, and seemed a little excited. However, Sikong Ye understands that the vast majority of pirates in the sea are not freedom-oriented adventurers like Luffy. It is a criminal who is cruel, bloodthirsty, insidious and cunning, and commits all kinds of crimes. Luffy, since you set One Piece as your lifelong goal, you should understand, not all pirates are adventurers. When Luffy heard this, his big eyes were full of doubts, but with his brain capacity, he gave up before thinking for a few seconds. Captain, you mean that these guys are as bad as the bandit King Sig, right? If that's the case, then let me beat them up. After Luffy finished speaking, he turned his right hand to form a big windmill, and then threw it towards the opposite pirate ship. After grabbing the side of the ship, he ejected violently. Chapter 012 Luffy's Big Exhibition Kamui, the combination of rubber and magic man. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Although Luffy's brain is not good, but he has enough trust in Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye said that those pirates are not good people, so they must not be good people. This is Luffy's brain circuit. Using the Yumi boat spirit, Sikong Ye instantly crossed tens of meters to the top of Luffy's head. Looking around, I found that there were more than 30 pirates on this pirate ship, and each pirate was either holding a cold weapon or a pistol in his hand. These weapons pose no threat to Luffy, but not necessarily to him. So Sikong Ye was not in a hurry to get off Luffy's head. Demon Fruit Power. See the picture of Luffy's arm length, and the scene of Sikong Ye shrinking and floating above Luffy's head. The headed strong man with a giant hammer realized that the 2 little boys in front of him were not simple. Are you interested in joining my smashing pirate group? I am the Smasher Dia worth 10 million Baileys. Luffy blinked and shook his head decisively. Not at all. Puff. Sikong Ye couldn't help laughing out loud. Do you really think that Luffy can be recruited with just a few words? Feeling ashamed, Dia's face darkened, and he shouted sharply. Kill these 2 little guys for me. Good captain. The pirates responded one after another, with cruel smiles on their faces. The gun-wielding pirate fired at the first time, but the bullet hit Luffy completely to no avail. They were all bounced back and injured many pirates in the front row. When the pirates saw this, they all screamed hell, and what's more, they already thought of retreating. He's a demon fruit power, bullets won't work on him, so use a knife. Dia brandished the sledgehammer in his hand, intimidating those timid pirate boys. I have to say that the captain of the pirate who offered a reward of 10 million is indeed a little discerning, and he can see through the shortcomings of rubber fruit at a glance. Unfortunately, this shortcoming has been made up for by Sikong Ye with the magic body physique. The pirate closest to Luffy couldn't bear the threat of his own captain, so he brazenly swung the machete in his hand and slashed at Luffy. Magic Oak Gatling. Luffy roared violently, his waist twisted into a twist, and then his fists were like bullets in the process of turning. He punched the pirates approaching in a circle continuously. It's like a humanoid self-propelled Gatling. Because Luffy always said that his fists are as powerful as pistols. Sikong Ye simply combined the characteristics of rubber, and helped Luffy develop the Magic Oak Gatling through the rotation force of the waist and the stretching force of the rubber, which can attack at 360 degrees without dead ends. It is a powerful skill that replaces defense with offense and integrates offense and defense. With the Devil's physique, Luffy doesn't have to worry about being cut off his hands at all. Ah da 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 da. Luffy fired 36 rounds in a row, and finally Dia was the only one left standing still. Seeing that his younger brother was destroyed, Dia's veins bulged, and he swung a sledgehammer directly at Luffy. Not to be outdone, Luffy shook his fist hard, but after all, he overestimated his strength and was smashed into the lower deck with a hammer. Luffy's hands were bloody from the blow. Dia sneered. A kid is just a kid, it's really stupid to use your fist to hard block my sledgehammer. However, before he finished speaking, Dia found that Luffy's hands had returned to normal. After rubbing her eyes repeatedly, Dia was sure it wasn't a hallucination, and she was completely dumbfounded. As soon as he said a word of nonsense, Luffy was resurrected with full blood. Is there anything crazier than this? Sure enough, the seniors always said that the villain died because of talking too much, there is nothing wrong with it. Luffy jumped onto the deck with a kick and fought Dia again, but was always at a disadvantage. Luffy's fights are out of order. Except for Magic Oak Gatling, there are almost no decent moves. But Sikong Ye is already very satisfied. You must know that Luffy is only 7 years old now, and he can fight evenly with pirates who offer tens of millions of bounties, which is very remarkable. Luffy, you can try to devour those seriously injured pirates. Sikong Ye reminds Luffy at the right time. The Devil's physique has the ability to devour, and can absorb the opponent's physique to increase itself. How to swallow it? Luffy expressed complete incomprehension. Just make your hand bigger and wrap it around a pirate. Luffy did so, and found that he had devoured a pirate, and then felt a slight increase in strength. Without the slightest intention of killing, Luffy told Sikong Ye all the changes in his body, and Sikong Ye let Luffy continue to devour it. Anyway, they are all a group of scum from the sea, and now they are turned into Luffy's nourishment, which can be regarded as contributing their final value. After Luffy devoured all the pirate soldiers, Dia found himself gradually equal to a 7-year-old kid in strength. Devil, you man-eating devil, die for lousy. Dia was completely insane. It's fine for his crew to be knocked down, but it's unforgivable that they are eaten until there is not even a bone left. Smash the meteor hammer. With a roar, Dia swung the double hammers around for 3.5 circles, and then smashed straight at Luffy. Magic Oak Rocket Launcher. Luffy also roared violently, stretching his hands backwards crazily, in the shape of a Kamahachigung, and then ejected instantly, aiming directly at Dia. Chapter 013. Complete the first stage of the main line, and upgrade the Emperor Star. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Just heard a loud bang. Luffy misses. Instead, Dia's sledgehammer hit Luffy's chest hard, smashing Luffy into meatloaf. Sikong Ye put his hand on his forehead, and he really deserves to be the world's most unexpected 50-50 in One Piece. This wave of performance is simply outstanding. The move was shouted heart-piercingly, but the sight was far off by 1,000 miles. But even if he was smashed into meatloaf, Luffy still didn't die, so Yumi's ship spirit was not lifted, otherwise Sikong Ye would have to take a hammer from Dia. However, Sikong Ye took the initiative to untie Yumi Schwanling. With a move of dark water and dark acupuncture points, half of Dia's head was cut off neatly. Seeing that Luffy quickly recovered from his injuries and was alive and kicking again, Sikong Ye said, let's devour this guy too. Embarrassed, Luffy quickly followed suit, and now he kind of likes the feeling of devouring, because devouring can make him stronger. But Luffy also has his own bottom line, he only devours the bad guys, not the innocent. After Luffy devoured it, Sikong Ye checked Luffy's information again. Rubber fruit has been developed to 5%, and the Devil's physique has only been developed to 2%. The combat power has been upgraded to E level, which is a big realm higher than Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye seemed to be able to easily deal with Dia, the captain of the Smash Pirates, but it was all because he seized the gap and opened up directly. In terms of physical fitness, endurance, combat experience, etc., Dia the Crusher can beat Sikong Ye by 8 blocks. Leaving the job of searching and smashing the pirates to Luffy, Sikong Ye drove the ship that smashed the pirates to approach the Emperor Star. Then he jumped and returned to his own boat. 20 kilometers away from Zwei Pirates. The pirates on Red Force are spying on the battle between Sikong Ye and Luffy. Looks like they're strong enough to protect themselves in the East Blue. Now, little ones, we're ready to sail back to the New World. Oh oh oh. Shanks raised his arms and shouted, and the whole crew shouted in unison. This time, they will return to the New World to compete for the throne of the 4 emperors. Can the red hair without the broken arm become the first 4 emperors earlier? Ding. The side mission. The battle with the pirates has been completed. Please choose the hull facility. Option 1. A wireless microphone. Option 2. Music player. Option 3. Solar panels. Ding. The main task. The establishment of the pirate group has been completed. Please choose the hull upgrade. Option 1. Bark. Option 2. A two-masted screw boat. Option 3. Steam sloop. As soon as he got back to the boat, 2 electronic prompts sounded in Sikong Ye's mind. The main mission was finally completed, which made Sikong Ye very happy. Regarding the side mission rewards this time, Sikong Ye directly chose solar panels. As for the main task rewards, you need to check the specific information to make a decision. Filled Diamond 3-masted sailing yacht, sailing by wind, with a maximum speed of 60 km per hour. Filled Diamond spiral boat with 2 masts, sailing with dual power of wind and manpower, with a maximum speed of 60 km per hour. Filled Diamond single-masted steamboat, sailing with wind and steam dual power, with a maximum speed of 60 km per hour. Without any hesitation, Sikong Ye directly ruled out the 3-masted sailboat. There are always various restrictions on pure wind sailing on the sea, not to mention the existence of calm belt in the world of One Piece. Steam power is stable and should be Sikong Ye's first choice, but it consumes more coal and requires a dedicated crew to manage it. Too much trouble. Compared with steam power, Sikong Ye is actually more optimistic about electricity. In the future, as long as you get the Thunder Fruit, flying a spaceship will not be a dream. Moreover, the manpower equipment of the two-masted screw boat is not the traditional hand-operated type, but the running type, so that there is a place for running. It will be much more convenient to train for long-distance running in the future. As for the slower speed, it doesn't matter, he doesn't need a fast sailing speed at the moment. That's right, in Sikong Ye's view, apart from life-saving options, convenience is the most important thing. Sikong Ye finally chose the two-masted screw boat. With the slight vibration of the Emperor Star, the entire pirate ship suddenly doubled in size. The original single mast has become a double mast, and there are 3 built-in treadmills on both sides of the open deck. The kind that is completely embedded in the deck and cannot be snapped off. The treadmill is connected to the propeller. As long as you run on it, the corresponding propeller on the outside of the screw boat will rotate accordingly. Apart from these changes in appearance, all the rooms in the cabin have almost doubled in size. The sofa in the reception cabin has been extended by half a meter, and the kitchen and bathroom are no longer as crowded as before. Even the lighting equipment that was originally equipped in each room is much brighter. A narrow corridor extends inwards from the inside of the reception cabin. On both sides of the corridor are 2 double-bedroom cabins with bunk beds as before. A radar function has been added to the captain's room, which can detect within a radius of 10 kilometers and monitor nearby ships. When Luffy jumped on the Star God with a large bag of gold and silver jewels, he was also shocked by the huge changes on the Star God. "Captain, what's going on here?" Luffy's jaw dropped to the deck and his eyes nearly popped out. Chapter 014 Dark Matter Enhanced, Total Wealth Breaks Millions. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Sikong Ye came out from the captain's cabin, just in time to hear Luffy's inquiry. After pondering for 2 seconds, Sikong Ye began to talk nonsense seriously. "I am a dark fruit capable person, and I can strengthen a certain thing with dark matter. I strengthened your rubber fruit before, making your body almost immortal. This time I strengthened the Emperor Star to make it bigger and more spacious, so that it won't be too shabby to recruit new partners in the future." For Sikong Ye's deceit, Luffy only thought for a second before he believed it. It's not how sincere Sikong Ye's words are, but how easy Luffy is to lie. Luffy carried it 5 or 6 times in a row before he scraped off all the valuables on the Smash Pirates. According to Sikong Ye's statistics, there are about 1.5 million Baileys. Ding. Achievement mission. The total wealth of 100,000 has been completed. Please choose the captain's skill. Option 1. Extreme boat drift. Option 2. Chat with the soul ship. Option 3. Feel your heart. Ding. Achievement mission. The total wealth has exceeded 1 million and has been completed. Please choose the captain's skill. Option 1. Heishi shipbuilding. Option 2. Phantom ship strike. Option 3. Delivery by super distance ship. Sikong Ye. Let me go. I was so lucky today, I actually completed 2 tasks at the same time. Double the options, double the fun. Filled Diamond Extreme Ship Drift. The captain can control the Emperor Star to jump on the sea surface. In this state, the Emperor Star will not cause damage. Filled Diamond Ship Heart and Ship Mind. The captain's charm is infinite, which can make the crew subtly trust the captain and generate belonging to the Zwei pirates. This skill is invalid for non-ship crew members. Filled Diamond Heishi Shipbuilding. The captain and Emperor Star can create a phantom in any area within a radius of 10 kilometers. This skill is invalid for those with strong mental power. Filled Diamond Phantom Ship Strike. The phantoms of the captain and the Emperor Star can issue a physical attack. This skill can only be used under the premise of having the skill of Heishi Shipbuilding. The system only displays the new captain's skills, and the ones that have appeared before are no longer displayed. The 6 skills are all good, but what satisfies Sikong Ye the most is the 2 skills of boat heart and super distance boat delivery. The heart of the ship can improve the crew's sense of belonging to the pirate group, which is the soul of the pirate group and is indispensable. And with this skill, you don't have to worry about being poached in the future. The over-distance ship delivery can be used for emergency rescue when the crew is in danger, or the ship can be sent back to the Emperor Star when the crew is in danger. It can be regarded as a magical skill for both life-saving and life-saving. After making a choice, Sikong Ye opened the system panel silently in his heart. God-level pirate group system. Host information. Filled diamond name, Sikong Ye. Filled diamond position, Captain. Filled diamond strength, F+ level. Filled diamond skills, longevity and boat, Yumi boat spirit, boat heart and boat meaning, super distance boat delivery. Filled diamond characteristics, dark fruit 8%. Partner information. Filled diamond 7 kills, Luffy. Filled diamond breaking army, none. Filled diamond greedy wolf, none. Hull information. Filled diamond ship type, 2-masted screw boat. Filled diamond defense, class E. Filled diamond power, wind type, human type. Filled diamond space, 60 cubic meters. Filled diamond basic, captain's cabin X1, anchor X1, open deck X1, water pump X1, water storage tank X1, seawater purification device X1, solar panel X2. Filled diamond weapon, none. Filled diamond room, reception cabin X1, kitchen X1, bathroom X1, double bedroom cabin X2. Task information. Filled diamond main line, fledgling. Filled diamond routine, recruit partners. Filled diamond achievements, total wealth over 10 million. Filled diamond achievements, total rewards over 10,000. Filled diamond branch line, have a reward order. Filled diamond branch line, compete with 10 fellow fighters. Filled diamond branch line, dark fruit development to 10%. Sikong Ye browsed one by one, and now he has 4 captain skills. And the dark fruit was developed to 8%, and the combat power was also raised to F+ level. After the upgrade of the Emperor Star, not only the changes visible to the naked eye, but also the hull defense has also been upgraded to a level of E. The masts, sails, and treadmill propellers are all on the weather deck and not shown on the system panel. Likewise, some small hull facilities were also not shown. The main mission has been updated. If you want to complete the main line of the second stage, you also need to complete many pre-tasks, such as the total reward exceeding 10 million, the total wealth exceeding 10 million, at least 5 partners need to be recruited, and so on. As for the side missions, there are even more, and there are more than a dozen in total. Sikong Ye is not in a hurry to do the main task, and currently focuses on the side tasks that can be completed. Captain, we won the first battle, shall we have a banquet? With little stars in his eyes, Luffy talked non-stop around Sikong Ye, obviously inheriting the habit of having a banquet whenever there is a happy event from the Red Hair Pirates. No problem. Sikong Ye is not stingy about this either. Multifunctional induction cooker, kitchen utensils set, basic seasoning, animal meat of the King of the Sea are all available. Sikong Ye started his first meal in One Piece world. But Sikong Ye thought it was troublesome, so he simply boiled a pot of meat, added some seasonings, and immediately the delicious white boiled meat came out of the oven. However, even such a simple cooking took Sikong Ye nearly 3 hours. Cooking is indeed a physical effort, especially if you have to feed Luffy, a big eater. Chapter 015 Arriving at Shimotsuki Village, Pirate Identity Causes Conflict. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. We still have to recruit a chef. Sikong Ye muttered in his heart. It's a pity that Zapu and Sanji came to East Blue in about 1511, and they have to wait for another year. The two had a meal until dusk, just as the Emperor Star also arrived at Shimotsuki Village. Reef sail and sink anchor. Sikong Ye put all the gold, silver, jewelry and other valuables on the Emperor Star into the system space, and even stuffed the beast meat of the King of the Offshore. The system space is as large as the hull space of the Emperor Star, which is more than enough to accommodate these things. I didn't put it in the system space before, I just wanted to make the Emperor Star look more substantial. When Sikong Ye was handling the supplies on the ship, Luffy had already jumped off the ship and looked around with curiosity in his eyes. Shimotsuki Village is about the same size as Windmill Village, and you can almost see the end at a glance. A main road leads directly to the port, and there are orderly farmlands on both sides, and some farmers can vaguely be seen taking advantage of the sunset to be busy. Many villagers near the port saw the pirate flag on the Emperor Star and thought it was pirates attacking the village, so they grabbed hoes and sickles and surrounded them. However, when they saw that the pirate who jumped off the boat was a 7-year-old child wearing a straw hat, everyone felt incredible. A 7-year-old child got off a pirate ship, what does that mean? The opponent is either a pirate, or a slave captured by a pirate. But more people think that Luffy is too young to be a pirate. Just when the villagers felt sympathetic, a farmer holding a sickle dared to ask. Are you a pirate, Ska? Don't you see that this kid is a victim? A woman couldn't understand Nongfuska's ignorant questioning and angrily reprimanded her in a low voice. Well, I'm a pirate. However, the woman did not expect that Luffy would admit it with pride. Immediately, the expressions of the villagers tightened, and their eyes looking at Luffy became vigilant again, and the palms holding the weapons were sweating. Pirate, please leave Shimotsuki Village, pirates are not welcome here. Scar brandished his sickle and said viciously. Why, I haven't recruited any partners yet. Luffy scratched the back of his head, confused. Sikong Ye had told him before that the purpose of their coming to Shimotsuki Village was to recruit partners, which made Luffy very happy at the time. But now that you can't go to the island, how can you recruit partners? Hey, Captain, these people won't let us go to the island. Luffy was a little bit blind, how could he understand the common people's repulsion and aversion to pirates at a young age, so he could only seek help from Sikong Ye. However, when Luffy turned around and asked Sikong Ye who was still on the Emperor Star, Scar took the opportunity to rush behind Luffy, raised the sickle in his hand, and slashed down hard. You still want to recruit partners? My brother was forced to be cannon fodder by the hateful pirates, and finally died in the sea. Damn kid, die for me. After hearing the news, Sikong Ye, who was about to jump off the boat, happened to see this scene. I wanted to make a sound to remind me, but it was a step too late. The scythe had already been cut down, and there was only a soft poo sound, and Luffy was cut in half obliquely. The upper part fell to the ground. The lower part fell straight down. The audience was silent, no one spoke. Taking a deep breath, Sikong Ye looked at Scar with deep eyes. Sikong Ye can understand Scar's hatred of pirates, but the act of wielding a butcher's knife at a 7-year-old child looks like a beast no matter what. Many heinous pirates on the sea were imprisoned and impelled down by marine. Even though Luffy is a pirate, he hasn't done any bad things yet. It's not worth the death penalty. How could a mere farmer convict Luffy? Why would an ordinary person dare to execute Luffy? You, damn it. With a cold glance at Scar, Sikong Ye jumped off the Emperor Star and walked towards Scar step by step. Almost all the surrounding villagers were stunned by Scar's methods, and they all stood there dumbfounded, without any move to help. Scar also realized that he was isolated and helpless, coupled with the mental oppression given by Sikong Ye. He really couldn't bear this kind of aura, and once again violently shot when the distance between the two sides was only 3 meters. And Sikong Ye's right hand black smoke loomed. As soon as Scar approached, he would use the dark acupoint to take Scar away. But Sikong Ye did not expect that at this critical moment, someone would come out to disrupt the situation. A middle-aged man wearing a kendo suit suddenly appeared between Sikong Ye and Scar. With a pinch of his right hand, he caught the sickle that Scar had cut down. With a light wave of his left hand, the strong wind blows Sikong Ye 3 or 4 meters away. Sikong Ye took a closer look, and saw the man in front of him wearing round-rimmed glasses, braided hair, and a calm expression on his face. The visitor, Sikong Ye, knew that he was Koshiro, the owner of Yixin Gymnasium in Shimotsuki Village. At the same time, a group of children also wearing kendo uniforms ran up in the distance. These gym students vaguely centered on 2 children, one of whom was a green-cropped boy, and the other was a blue shoulder-length girl with short hair. The 2 were exactly Zoro and Kuina that Sikong Ye was looking for. But at the moment, both of them were staring at Sikong Ye with a wary look. Chapter 016 Koshiro intervenes. Sikong Ye wants to take advantage of the situation to overwhelm others. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Hateful. Why did you kill me? Luffy, who was put together again, got up and glared at Scar. Many villagers around were scared to pee on the spot when they saw this scene. Many timid gym students were directly frightened and passed out. On the other hand, Zoro and Kuina were resolute and only took a step back, but they never let go of the bamboo sword in their hands. Koshiro opened his eyes slightly, also surprised by Luffy's resurrection, secretly thinking about what devil fruit this is. Luffy's angry words completely stopped Scar. Even though he acted very boldly just now, he never expected that the young man who was clearly dead would suddenly stand up and question himself. Is this here to ask for your life? You are a pirate, shouldn't you be killed? Perhaps because he was terrified to ultimate, Ska boldly yelled instead. You pirates are always pretending to be free under the banner of freedom, but you are actually just a bunch of vampires who don't have anything to do with production. Since you are a pirate, you should be prepared to be killed. Now that you were killed by me, and you came back to question me, isn't it ridiculous? As soon as Scar made the call, Luffy was completely silent. He is a pirate, he wants to be the pirate king, and he yearns for freedom. Therefore, he had already had the consciousness of death. But he didn't feel that he deserved to be killed if he had awakened. That's right, the moment we became pirates, we had the awareness of death, but I don't know if you have this awareness. Sikong Ye stared at Scar tightly, and said slowly. He and Luffy are indeed pirates, there is nothing to be ashamed of. In this fatuous world of celestial dragons, in this society where slavery prevails. Can right and wrong, good and evil really be defined by one sentence or one identity? In the past and ancient times, many capable people and strangers became grand thieves because they couldn't stand the exploitation by the government, and they took up the business of robbing the rich and helping the poor. At the end of the 15th century in the previous life, Columbus started the age of great voyages, and pirates were rampant. Many of them did evil, but there were also many pirates purely for the secret treasures on the sea. Even in a certain K-Shui world, there is a strange thief who likes to steal gems and return them back. From Sikong Ye's point of view, Luffy is actually similar to these thieves. The so-called thief has a way, as long as you stick to your bottom line is enough. Talking about character and morality in the world of One Piece is the act of the Virgin. The celestial dragons enforced slavery and displaced countless civilians. 5 elders issued the Buster Call, leaving a large number of innocent people dead without a place to bury them. The world government recruits Shichibukai to make the big pirates legally eligible for plunder. All kinds of acts are heinous, and justice is trampled underfoot. In contrast, Luffy, a pirate with the theme of adventure and freedom, is really rare in the world of One Piece. Even in the previous life, if someone claimed to be a thief but had never stolen anything, no one would catch him. If even Luffy is judged to be evil, then to what extent does the person who makes this judgment know the Virgin Mary? If Luffy has to be forcibly classified as evil, then what's the big deal about being a villain from now on? This is not the Hokage world of love and understanding, but the world of One Piece where violence is used to control violence. What consciousness? I'm not a pirate, why should I have consciousness? Scar felt a little flustered in his heart, he felt that Sikong Ye seemed to be implying something. Hee, since you have drawn your sword, you have to risk your life. Don't you have the awareness now? Sikong Ye sneered. Hearing the familiar lines, Luffy's eyes lit up. Shanks had said similar things before. That's right, now that you've done it, you have to be determined not to die. Luffy pressed the straw hat with one hand, his eyes determined. 4 eyes, are you going to stop me? Sikong Ye looked directly at Koshiro and said coldly. Not angry at being nicknamed, Koshiro still smiled gently. Your friend seems to be fine. We are willing to apologize to your friend and make compensation. What do you think? No way, this guy wants to kill Luffy, and I'm going to kill him. Sikong Ye's eyes became more and more cold. Mr. Koshiro, what nonsense to talk to him, just kill them. Seeing that Koshiro still wanted to make peace with Sikong Ye and Luffy, Scar felt anxious. He turned his head to look at Sikong Ye, still with harsh words in his mouth. A mere pirate, why are you so arrogant? Mr. Koshiro is a master of swordsmanship. Killing you is like killing a chicken. Sikong Ye didn't bother to talk to a dying person, and kept staring at Koshiro without saying a word, waiting for the other party's reply. But if I insist on protecting him, as the strongest in the Shimotsuki village, Koshiro couldn't have just watched the villagers get hurt. Seeing that Koshiro was determined to want Pauska, Sikong Ye took a deep breath. I am Sikong Ye, the captain of the Zwei pirates, and this is my crew member Monkey D. Luffy. Everyone was stunned. At this tense moment, is it really okay for you to introduce yourself calmly? Without waiting for everyone to wonder, Sikong Ye continued to introduce. Vice Admiral Garp, the marine hero, is Luffy's grandfather. Dorag, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, is Luffy's father. Shanks, the captain of the Red Hair Pirates, is half of Luffy's guide on the pirate road. Chapter 017 After the Old Man, Sikong Ye's Chain Tricks. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. It seems that Sikong Ye is not enough to report Luffy's 3 backstages in one breath. Then he pointed to the straw hat on Luffy's head and said solemnly. This straw hat was worn by One Piece King Luogia when he was farming before going out to sea, and later passed to Shanks, and Shanks passed it to Luffy. Sikong Ye's words were not astonishing, and he continued to die, and pulled out the banner of One Piece Luogia. Hearing all the powers and names, even if Koshiro has a top-notch kung fu for nourishing chi, he almost broke his kung fu. Squinting eyes gradually have a tendency to open. He has an intersection with the Revolutionary Army. One Piece is a partner with Kazuki Oden, and he is a Shimotsuki tribe loyal to Kazuki Oden. Strictly speaking, Luffy is the successor of the old man. In fact, Koshiro has suspected that Sikong Ye is lying, but in the perception of knowledge, Sikong Ye is true. This made Koshiro have to be cautious. The rest of the villagers are familiar with terms such as One Piece, Revolutionary Army, Marine Vice Admiral, and Red Hair Pirates. And the Straw Hat Boy in front of them is actually related to these forces, how can this not shock them? At the same time secretly mourn for Scar. With a casual knife, he actually offended the big shots of the 3 forces. Boy, are you trying to scare me with these identities? Koshiro narrowed his eyes. Needless to say, he was really scared. But he wasn't about to back down. Luffy wasn't dead, and Garp wouldn't make a big fuss about it. Although Dorag is eager to love his son, he doesn't care too much for his face. And it is rumored that the red-haired Shanks has an open-minded temperament, and he will not pull down his face to trouble a farmer. As for One Piece Luogia, is it possible to get up to avenge Luffy after being dead for 12 years? You think too much. Sikong Ye shook his head. Since you are the farmer's backstage, it's only reasonable for me to move out of Luffy's backstage. I don't expect Luffy's elders to take on a farmer with their own hands, but just let them stop you and the guy will die. Of course, if you have a grudge, you must personally avenge it. He pulled out the flag just to keep Koshiro at bay. After listening to Sikong Ye's analysis, Koshiro was a little confused for a while. In fact it is. Although Garp, Dorag and Shanks will not shoot Ska, as long as they stop him, Sikong Ye or Luffy can kill Ska solo. As for killing Luffy, it's a one and done one. Koshiro just thought about it. Leaving aside Luffy's monstrous background, he cannot be offended by Koshiro. He still hasn't figured out Luffy's resurrection ability alone, so how can he silence him? Little friend Sikong, this matter is a small friction in the final analysis, why don't we each take a step back? Koshiro finally chose peace talks. Seeing that Koshiro was completely resigned this time, Sikong Ye also knew how to let it go. Immediately put forward your own conditions. I heard that there is a gymnasium in Shimotsuki Village that specializes in teaching swordsmanship. The owner of the gymnasium is a boy with 4 eyes. I think it must be you. We came to Shimotsuki Village to recruit 2 swordsmen to board the ship. Since you are here, the owner, why don't you let me choose 2 of your disciples? Sikong Ye suddenly pointed to the direction of Zoro and Kuina, and said with a smile. I think the green algae head and the blue-haired girl are pretty good. As long as they join my pirate group, I promise to let this farmer go. I wonder if the owner is willing to give up. As early as when Luffy was cut in half, Sikong Ye, standing on the Emperor Star, noticed Koshiro's gang coming towards the port. Although the previous anger was not fake, he knew that it was almost impossible to kill in front of Koshiro. So at the beginning when he threatened to kill Scar, he just walked over slowly, even knowing that running over could not kill Scar. In order to seduce Koshiro, Sikong Ye first created an image of himself being carried away by anger. When Koshiro first proposed peace talks, Sikong Ye didn't see much sincerity, so he decided to expose Luffy's identity. One is to intimidate Koshiro so that the other party does not kill people, the other is naturally to build a relationship and lay the foundation for recruiting Zoro and Kuina. When Koshiro finally found out that they couldn't do anything about it, it was the perfect time to make an offer. No, Koshiro refused without thinking. Kuina is his daughter and Zoro is his disciple. Both are extremely important to Koshiro. Mr. Koshiro, promise him, I don't want to die yet. Scar hugged Koshiro's thigh, tears and snot all wrapped in the kendo uniform. After learning of Luffy's identity, he knew he was in trouble, and he just wanted to get himself out of Uzumaki. Koshiro's face was not very good looking. In order to save you, do I have to abandon my daughter and apprentice? Otherwise, I can give the 2 of them a 1-month trial period, and after 1 month they can decide whether to stay or not. As long as the owner agrees to this request, no matter whether they stay or leave after a month, Luffy and I will not do anything to that farmer. Sikong Ye proposed a second plan. The skill of negotiation is to ask for the price and pay back the money. First put forward an extremely harsh condition, and then give a more compromised solution. Although the results of the 2 are the same, the latter is obviously more acceptable. And once Zoro and Kuina join the Zwei pirates, they will only take the pirates as their destination in the end under the influence of their will. Chapter 018 Sikong Ye's Conspiracy, happy to mention 2 new partners. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Half a month, and during this period, the pirate ship cannot leave the Shimotsuki village within 3 kilometers. After Koshiro hesitated for a while, he finally made a compromise. It just added its own conditions. No problem. This is exactly what Sikong Ye wants. 1 month was originally used to bargain for Koshiro. Anyway, as long as they become crew members, Zoro and Kuina will not be able to escape. As for geographical restrictions, it is actually the default rule of Sikong Ye. He used Yongmo and had no intention of sneaking away with Zoro and Kuina at all. After the 2 parties made a compromise, Sikong Ye lowered his head and took a deep look at Ska, who was on Koshiro's lap, with the corners of his mouth slightly upturned. Since you hate pirates, why don't you become a marine, maybe you can catch me in the future. Sikong Ye's extremely seductive words did not arouse Scar's blood. On the contrary, it made Ska feel cold all over, and made him even more afraid of Sikong Ye. Why, you can bravely wield a butcher's knife against 7-year-old pirates, but you dare not face the real scum in the sea. Sikong Ye sneered, and ignored Scar. Under his few words of cruelty, even if Scar did not die, he would live in a nightmare in the future. Even Scar's act of wielding a sai that Luffy will make him socially dead in Shimotsuki Village, and be spurned by everyone. The hero who slayed pirates eventually became the laughingstock of the village. This may be worse than killing him. If Ska cannot bear the pressure of the fishing boat one day, he will go to sea angrily and become a marine. Hee. At that time, it will be Scar's death. Koshiro was worried that Sikong Ye would tell Ska that he was autistic, so he quickly arranged for the villagers to take Ska back. Afterwards, Koshiro told Zoro and Kuina about the conditions just now in detail. Is it enough to join the pirates for half a month? Zoro murmured and agreed directly. Koshiro owes him a favor, and now Zoro is willing to do whatever he can to help him. No matter how tempted those pirates are, Zoro will stick to his heart and leave Zwei pirates when the time comes. HMPH, pirates are a bunch of scum. Kuina snorted coldly, obviously extremely disgusted with Sikong Ye's plan. But her father has already agreed, and she is not good at taking care of her father's face. Sikong Ye didn't care what Koshiro explained to Zoro and Kuina, but looked at the information of the 2 with great interest. Potential partner. Roronoa Zoro. Available positions. Team 7 kills. Assessment of combat power. F+ level. Benefits. 3 swords 3%. Potential partner. Shimotsuki Kuina. Available positions. Breaking the army. Assessment of combat power. E class. Included features. None. The data of the two made Sikong Ye feel strange. Kuina's combat power is obviously stronger, but it has no characteristics. It stands to reason that Kuina should at least have the characteristics of kendo talent or family inherited swordsmanship. Back to host, talents or ordinary skills are not enough to be traits. Before Sikong Ye asked, the system learned to answer by itself. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, the three of Koshiro finally finished talking, and then brought the two of them over to meet Sikong Ye and Luffy. Ladies first, Sikong Ye was the first to extend his hand to Kuina to invite. Kuina, do you want to be the #1 swordsman in the world? Do you want to break the shackles that girls are not as strong as boys? Do you want to appreciate the glory of the pinnacle of swordsmanship in this world? Join our Zwei pirates, and I can pass on to you the kendo experience I got in the tomb of a sword god. Kuina, what's the matter with this strong sense of street selling? Kuina wanted to complain, but Koshiro was watching, and she had to agree to Sikong Ye's invitation according to the agreement. But in order to prevent Sikong Ye from playing word games, Kuina also emphasized a sentence when holding Sikong Ye's right hand. I just joined temporarily, and after half a month I can choose to stay or not. Obviously, Kuina is a pretty smart girl who knows how to avoid word traps. But obviously can't play Sikong Ye. Naturally. Kuina, you are welcome to join the Zwei pirates. Sikong Ye smiled slightly. Ding. Regular task. Recruiting partners. The second ring has been completed. Please choose Devil Fruit. Option 1. Wind Elf Fruit. Option 2. Vampire Fruit. Option 3. Fruit of Fenrir. Not in a hurry to choose, Sikong Ye turned his head to look at Zoro again, and extended an invitation. Zoro, do you want to surpass Kuina? Do you want to be so strong that your name resounds through the kingdom of heaven? Do you want to know the swordsmanship experience of the peak sword god hundreds of years ago? What are you still hesitating about? Come and join our Zwei pirates. Number 998 or 688, join us, and you can bring home your kendo experience for free. Zoro, I'm afraid you are not engaging in promotions. The two little ones looked dazed, and even Koshiro's mouth Kakuzu couldn't help twitching hard. Which pirate captain recruits crew members in this way? But Zoro eventually got on Sikong Ye's right hand and agreed to join. Ding. Regular task. Recruiting partners. The third ring has been completed. Please choose Devil Fruit. Option 1. Mera Mera Fruit. Option 2. Asura Fruit. Option 3. Hand Speed Fruit. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 019 Big Stomach King Misfortune to the host, Zoro is defeated. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Since the conditions have been fulfilled, you two friends may wish to come to my dojo to have a talk. Koshiro showed his host spirit politely. But Sikong Ye understood that Koshiro was afraid that he would sneak away to assassinate Scar, so he invited them to the gym. Okay. Just when he was worried about having no place to eat and sleep, someone came to his door. How could Sikong Ye have no reason to refuse? Koshiro leads the way. Luffy follows Zoro, asking questions. Such as whether learning to sword is fun, whether it is powerful or not. He completely forgot about being cut in half before, and even Sikong Ye didn't take it to heart when he mentioned his father. Sikong Ye was hanging at the end, walking slowly with his hands on his head, all his mind was on the introduction on the system panel. Filled Diamond Wind Spirit Fruit. Zone Phantom Beast Species, which has a great increase in agility, reaction and perception, and can control the surrounding wind elements. Filled Diamond Vampire Fruit. Zone Phantom Beast, accelerates the aging of the opponent through blood sucking, and at the same time restores youth. Filled Diamond Fenrir Fruit. Zone Phantom Beast Species, a giant wolf in Nordic mythology, has powerful strength and defense. Filled Diamond Asura Fruit. Zone Phantom Beast, which greatly enhances the quality of the body and can be transformed into a 3-headed and 6-armed form. Filled Diamond Fruit of Hand Speed. Paramesha, gain the ability to enhance hand speed, the limit can reach 100 times faster. Luffy and I both ate Devil Fruit, but I can prepare 2 for Zoro and Kuina. Sikong Ye doesn't care about the nonsense of, a pure swordsman does not rely on external forces. Eat Devil Fruit into your stomach, no matter what external force it is, it will eventually become a part of your own power. A swordsman should absorb all the power that can strengthen himself, right? The big deal is that when fighting pure swordsmen, wouldn't they be able to do it without fruit power? Zoro naturally needless to say, the Shira fruit with 3 heads and 6 arms is the most suitable. If you choose Shira fruit, you can only give up Mera Mera fruit and Hand Speed fruit. Among the remaining 3 devil fruits, the vampire fruit is obviously not suitable for Kuina, and the Fenrir fruit is a bit ugly after transformation. On the contrary, the wind spirit fruit is quite suitable. Kuina always feels that her strength is not as good as that of a boy, so she simply absorbs a zone phantom fruit that increases her speed. Speed is power. System, I choose Wind Spirit Fruit and Shira Fruit. With the selection completed, 2 devil fruits appear in the system space. After walking for about 10 minutes, Koshiro and his party finally arrived at Yixin Gymnasium. Hungry. Luffy patted his shriveled belly, looking weak. Let's have dinner in the gym then. Sikong Ye showed a gloating smile. With Luffy as a big eater, it is no wonder that Koshiro is not poor. But Luffy is Drago's son, and Koshiro will definitely not ignore his food. There is no need to worry that Koshiro will run away after a few meals like Shanks. Before you came, I had already prepared the meal, and it should still be hot now. Koshiro brought a few people to the dining room and brought some warm food to the table. However, before everyone was seated, Luffy had already swept away all the food, even licking the plates clean. Koshiro's smile froze, while Kuina and Zoro both looked at Luffy with their mouths wide open. This guy has such a big appetite. After licking the rice bucket clean, Luffy showed a pair of big eyes that felt aggrieved. Mr. Owner, I'm not full. Koshiro heard that the veins on his forehead popped up, but he still smiled and said, I'll make some more. It's not enough to make just a few, let's make 30 servings according to the amount just now. Sikong Ye knew Luffy's appetite best, so he reminded. He said that for Koshiro's consideration. Otherwise, Luffy won't be full, and others won't be able to intervene at all. Koshiro walked into the kitchen with a dark face, while Sikong Ye and the others waited boredly. It took 3 hours to eat a meal, of which 2.5 hours were spent waiting. The majestic swordsman's hand speed was comparable to that of a snail, and Sikong Ye and the others dozed off after eating. It was already 10 o'clock after dinner. Koshiro arranged a room for Sikong Ye, and Sikong Ye didn't shirk it. Anyway, he made up his mind to eat, drink and sleep in the gymnasium in a short time. The next day, Sikong Ye and Luffy were awakened by the clash of bamboo swords in the gym. After washing up, the two walked into the training dojo following the sound, and saw a circle of young students sitting around them. In the middle of the dojo, the two are fighting fiercely. One of them is a bearded man, probably an instructor in the gym. The other person is none other than Zoro. Zoro is only 9 years old this year. He is about 1.1 meters tall and only reaches the waist of the instructor. However, under the swift attack of the teacher, he still resisted all the moves, which shows how enchanting Zoro's talent is. I didn't expect Zoro to be so powerful, and I really want to learn how to sword. Luffy was delighted to see Lai Shin, his eyes were full of little stars. Sikong Ye smiled helplessly at this, and ignored Luffy's 3-minute enthusiasm. In the center of the dojo, I saw Zoro suddenly broke out at super fast speed and rushed to the right side of the teacher. The 3 bamboo swords hit Zhaoshuo's right waist continuously within a second, knocking the latter into the air. All the onlookers couldn't help exclaiming when they saw the failure of the teaching. Closing parenthesis. Chapter 020 Kuina fights Luffy, Sikong Ye strives to be stronger. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Wow, Zoro actually defeated the instructor, that's amazing. In the entire gym, it is estimated that only Kuina can defeat Zoro. Yes, Kuina is the strongest student in Yixin Gymnasium, and even Zoro is not Kuina's one-stroke enemy. Quote. Amidst the discussion among the crowd, Zoro, who was overwhelmed with self-confidence after defeating the teacher, was a little unconvinced and threatened to challenge Kuina. Kuina, who was kneeling on the edge of the dojo, stood up when she heard the words, walked into the center of the dojo with a bamboo sword in her hand, and stood opposite Zoro. At the beginning of the battle, Sikong Ye felt that the scene in front of him was blurred, and Kuina defeated Zoro in an instant. My eyes can't keep up with the speed of the two of them. I'm afraid I don't use dark fruit. I'm no match for them at all. Sikong Ye evaluated secretly. Even with dark fruit, he can't deal with them without a big move. Kuina wins, 1746 wins and 0 losses. Upon seeing this, the thick eyebrow instructor directly announced the result. Hearing this record, Luffy's eyes widened in disbelief. I didn't expect Kuina to be stronger than Zoro. It's really strong. Sikong Ye's tone was a little emotional. He remembered that in the original book, Kuina was only 11 years old when she died. Zoro was 2 years younger than Kuina, so Kuina probably died this year. However, when Sabo was rescued by Drago to Shimotsuki Village, Kuina was still alive, indicating that Kuina was killed after Drago returned to Baldigo. In fact, according to the timeline of the original book, Sikong Ye could have recruited Ace and Sabo in Goa Kingdom first, and then came to Shimotsuki Village. But he tricked Luffy into boarding the boat with the condition that he be taken out to sea, so he could only come to Shimotsuki Village first. And Sabo's life is hard, even if Sikong Ye doesn't intervene, he can't die. But Kuina is different. As an extremely strong girl, under Koshiro's repeated denials, she met Zoro who kept narrowing the gap. There was an inevitable change in mentality. Lost. Self-abasement. Despair. The longer it dragged on, the worse Kuina's mental state became. In the original book, Kuina's fall from the stairs may also have psychological factors. Of course, Kuina could also fake his death. Then maybe she went to Wano Kuni, maybe she joined the Revolutionary Army, or maybe she was actually the same person as Tashigi. Regardless of the direction of the original plot, since she pretended to join the Zwei pirates, Kuina's fate has been doomed. Kuina, who defeated Zoro, pointed the bamboo sword at Sikong Ye and issued an invitation to fight. Captain, I want to challenge you. Sikong Ye shook his head quickly. Now he is no match for Kuina. You are too weak to be my opponent. When you defeat Luffy, the leader of my 7 kills team, come challenge me again. TCH, who doesn't speak big words. Kuina felt very dissatisfied with Sikong Ye's resignation. Then he pointed the bamboo sword at Luffy. Straw Hat Boy, I want to challenge you. Kuina's tone towards Luffy was not as conciliatory as Sikong Ye's. This may be the result of wishful thinking. Okay, I accept your challenge. Luffy stood in the center of the dojo, posing for an attack. My name is Monkey D. Luffy, the leader and vice captain of the Zwei Pirates' 7 kills, and I will be the man who will become the One Piece in the future. Following the lines taught by Sikong Ye, Luffy introduces herself. HMPH, you're overestimating your capabilities. After saying that, Kuina stepped up with the sword in hand. Luffy also rushed forward, shooting at the area where Kuina was. Magic Oak Gatling. Kuina lifted all his fists with his sword, and remained calm in the barrage. But anyone with a discerning eye could see that Kuina was at a disadvantage. Luffy is a rubber man, and the bamboo sword can't cut off the continuously extending hand, and the bamboo sword without the armed color can't even make Luffy feel pain. The hearts of Zoro, the teacher and the other students who were watching the battle rose to their throats, silently cheering for Kuina. However, Koshiro saw that Kuina couldn't beat Luffy, and would be exhausted by Luffy. Sure enough, the fight lasted only 30 minutes, and Kuina was knocked away by Luffy because of exhaustion. During this period, it's not that Kuina didn't think of bullying and attacking Luffy directly. But the scene of Luffy's resurrection yesterday completely shattered that idea. It was also at this time that Kuina finally realized that what he was facing was an undead monster. Knowing that the defeat is certain, Kuina still gritted her teeth and persisted. Even if she couldn't win against Luffy, she still wanted to try. As a result, of course, she was physically exhausted, but Luffy was still alive and well. After the battle, Sikong Ye did not stay in the dojo. Desperate to get stronger, he dragged Luffy to the backyard for endless rounds of Saitama workout packages. Whenever Luffy upgrades the 10-round package, Sikong Ye also gritted his teeth and added a round. The days go by like this. After a week, Luffy was able to do 70 rounds of the Saitama workout package a day, while Sikong Ye maintained 7 rounds a day. There is no way Sikong Ye came here in a suit, and his physical fitness is not comparable to that of the people in the world of One Piece. What's more, Luffy's talent is one of the best in the world of One Piece, and Sikong Ye is even more incomparable. Closing parenthesis. Chapter 021 Growth and Layout, The Swordsmanship of Guro Hana no Bing. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. In addition, today's Luffy is not comparable to the original. The terrifying devouring ability of the devil's physique can become stronger as long as it is devoured, which makes Luffy's talent infinitely higher. Fortunately, there is Koshiro to take care of the meals, which can save a lot of money. This is one of the reasons why Sikong Ye is not in a hurry to leave Shimotsuki Village. Under the double strengthening of eating a lot and exercising frantically, the development of Luffy's rubber fruit and demon's physique has made great progress. Even the combat power has increased by a small level. Partner, Monkey D. Luffy. Position, Keisha Intern. Combat power, E+ level. Characteristics, rubber fruit 10%, demon body 3%, conquerors 2%. The initial development of rubber fruit has been completed, and the resistance to blunt objects has been enhanced a lot, and the tension has also been increased. And the extended limbs can be precisely controlled, so that it will not be missed like last time. The demon physique is slow to develop, so far it just makes Luffy immortal and energetic. However, whether it is to recover from injuries or replenish physical strength, a lot of food needs to be consumed. This is completely different from Majin Buu's state of fighting for 10 days and nights without needing to eat, and recovering instantly after being blown up. In the final analysis, the degree of development is still too low. If you want to quickly improve the devil's physique, you can only devour a lot. As for Sikong Ye, he also practices dark fruit in addition to his basic workouts. Dark fruit has been developed to 12%, complete a side task, get a small refrigerator. And it has been installed on the Emperor Star by the system itself. For a week, Sikong Ye has been staying in the Yixin Gymnasium, never mentioning that he will take Zoro and Kuina on board. Zoro and Kuina finally let down their guard gradually. Although the ship's heart and mind skills can make the crew trust themselves, it is ultimately subtle. Rather than forced brainwashing. In the beginning, Sikong Ye landed on the island as a pirate and had conflicts with the villagers. Kuina and Zoro would definitely be disgusted. Only when initial trust is established, they will slowly let go of their defenses. And even if under the influence of skills, the two belong to the pirates, it does not mean that their belonging to Yixin Gym will be reduced. The proportion of the pirate group in the hearts of the two is as high as the gym. After half a month, the two will inevitably be entangled in a dilemma. Therefore, in order to thoroughly recruit the two, Sikong Ye prepared a series of plans, and now it's time to start. Gym backyard. Sikong Ye found Kuina, who was swinging his sword at the stake, and Zoro, who was holding a boulder in his mouth to train his mouth, and said, "The weather is fine today, and I plan to take you out to sea. Don't worry, it's not far from the port. I'll take you to familiarize yourself with the Emperor Star, enjoy the sea breeze, and eat barbecue." Sikong Ye's tone was calm, trying to make the two of them less vigilant. Hearing the barbecue, Luffy, who has reached the 18th round of the Saitama training package, is like a cat smelling fish, and the light in his eyes almost pierces the sky. Zoro hadn't eaten much these days, so he agreed without thinking. It was Kuina who looked suspicious. Really? Sikong Ye nodded seriously. "You said before that you would teach us the experience of kendo, when will you fulfill it?" The corner of Kuina's mouth curved slightly. Sikong Ye was a little embarrassed. He didn't forget this, but the good things must be saved until the end. Otherwise, if Zoro and Kuina didn't board the boat after they finished their prostitution, wouldn't it be a big loss for him? "This is a secret for the time being, but I can show my hands a little bit, so that you can see a higher realm of swordsmanship." After Sikong Ye finished speaking, he took the bamboo sword in Kuina's hand, pulled another weed from the ground, and said to the two, "Look out." Koshiro, who heard Sikong Ye's plan to show off his hand, through his knowledge, quietly came to the backyard and hid behind a wooden door to peep. "I want to see for myself what this 10-year-old captain is capable of." Immediately afterwards, several people saw Sikong Ye throwing the weeds into the air, and when the weeds were falling freely, the bamboo sword waved lightly. The weeds were unscathed and landed safely. "See, if you don't want to cut, you can cut even grass. This is the highest level of swordsmanship." Sikong Ye looked proud. Seeing that the weeds were harmless, Kuina was a little contemptuous, but after hearing Sikong Ye's great truth, he couldn't help but startled. Can't tell the truth from the fake for a while. Zoro looked dazed, and also did not understand the realm shown by Sikong Ye. Koshiro, who was peeping, saw Sikong Ye's familiar operation, and his whole face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He is familiar with this trick. This is the swordsmanship summed up by Guro Hananobingo. Koshiro had wanted to wait to show Kuina and Zoro when they were about to set foot in the realm of swordsmen. As a result, Sikong Ye took it out for a show today. What does this mean for him to teach the younger generation in the future? Sikong Ye's strategy of walking the path of others, leaving others nowhere to go, caught Koshiro by surprise. The point is that the bamboo sword didn't touch the weeds, but insisted on saying, "If you don't want to cut, you can cut even the grass." Isn't this nonsense? Been taught a lesson. Although Kuina didn't understand it, she could feel the deep meaning contained in it. There is less guard against Sikong Ye and more trust. P.S. Book friends who think this book is not bad, please help me bookmark it. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 0222 Special Boarding Packages, Dorag appears. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Then, 3 teenagers and a girl headed towards the port all the way. Koshiro was worried, so he followed secretly. Ding. Intern Kuina is boarding the ship, please choose the boarding package. Option 1. King of Knights 3-piece suit. Option 2. Noble Phantasm Deviation Sword. Option 3. Noble Phantasm Unlimited Sword System. Ding. Intern Zoro is boarding, please choose the boarding package. Option 1. Devour the 2-piece suit. Option 2. A must-kill 2-piece suit. Option 3. 3000 Worlds 3-piece set. When Kuina and Zoro boarded the Star God one after another, the system also sent 2 boarding gift packages to choose from. However, Sikong Ye was a little puzzled looking at these boarding gift bags, so he immediately checked the detailed information. Filled Diamond Night King 3-piece set. Contains Noble Phantasm Wind King Barrier, Noble Phantasm Sword of Promised Victory, Noble Phantasm Far Utopia. Filled Diamond Noble Phantasm Deviation Sword. Possesses the ability to split space. Filled Diamond Noble Phantasm Unlimited Sword System. A sword mound that can manifest countless unknown swords. Filled Diamond Swallow 2-piece set. It contains a beheading sword and Samahata. Filled Diamond 2-piece Suzume set. There are Taigu 1 Kill Murasama and Zanpakutō Senbonzakura inside. Filled Diamond 3000 Worlds 3-piece set. Contains Magic Saber 1000 Blades, Zanpakutō Senbonzakura, Teigu Kaleidoscopic Crossover Tail. After reading the introduction, Sikong Ye was stunned. Is this a system card bug? Why do some option packages contain multiple rewards? In this way, wouldn't it be a blood loss for Luffy who only got 1 reward? Return to host. No matter how many rewards are in the boarding package, its potential value is almost the same. Hearing the system's explanation, Sikong Ye thought about it carefully, and it seemed to be the reason. Strictly speaking, the options for multiple rewards are not that exaggerated. Let's just say that the 3-piece suit of the King of Knights, a sword, a scabbard, and an invisible enchantment is a set, and it is unreasonable to forcibly disassemble it. But which option to choose made Sikong Ye face a difficult situation. Although the Deviation Sword and Infinity Sword system are just one piece of treasure, they are also quite powerful, not inferior to the three-piece set of the King of Knights. Zoro's gift pack is a good choice. The 3,000 worlds is Zoro's own secret, so it is the first choice. However, the two-piece set is also good. One strike will kill Murasama, and two strikes will kill Suzumaki. It is very suitable for instant killing enemies. As for devouring the two-piece suit, how could Zoro use a biological weapon like Samahata? Not in a hurry to make a choice, Sikong Ye planned to ask later when eating barbecue. Instruct Luffy to take Kuina to visit the Emperor Star. Sikong Ye got busy in the kitchen, turned on the induction cooker, put the pot on, and then took out 3 tons of animal meat from the system space and sliced them. Slice and grill on the pan. It doesn't matter if there is no oil, the meat itself is rich in oil, and the oil will come out by itself when roasted. After roasting the first batch of animal meat, Sikong Ye quickly put new meat slices into the pot. Then he brought the grilled meat slices to the passenger cabin, called Luffy and the 3 of them, and each of them shared a portion. He didn't want Luffy to eat it all in one go. Bake and eat and bake, and so on. Gradually, the few people became more and more acquainted, and Kuina also came to the kitchen to help Sikong Ye process the ingredients together, occasionally flipping the barbecue slices. The 4 of them were in joy and ate from noon to evening. Nearly 1/3 of the animal meat of the King of the Sea was consumed before the stomachs of the 4 could be completely filled. So full, so full. Luffy lay on the sofa without any image. Hick. Zoro was also fed up, belching non-stop. Luffy and Kuina both laughed when they saw this. Shut up. Hiccup. Zoro blushed. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. ... While Sikong Ye and the others were fighting, a giant ship with a dragon head on its prow landed on Shimotsuki Village under the moonlight. A group of people got off the boat, and the headman was wearing a green robe. The hood covered his head, and he could vaguely see the red square tattoo on the left side of the man's face. He had no eyebrows, and his expression looked extremely ferocious. On the right side of the man in the green robe stood a man with a huge face and a deep purple afro. No, maybe it can no longer be called a man, it should be called a ladyboy. On the left side of the man in the green robe is a light blue wavy murloc, wearing a white training suit, as strong as a giant bull. This group of people is the Revolutionary Army wanted by the world government, and the man in the green robe is the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dorag. As soon as they got off the boat, Drago and his party saw Koshiro standing by the sea. Mr. Koshiro, I didn't expect that you would come to greet me in person. I am really flattered. Drago thanked. Koshiro's mouth twitched. I said I didn't come here specially to greet you, do you believe me? But Koshiro just thought about it, his EQ was not low enough to say such a thing. Mr. Dorag, long time no see. After the two parties exchanged courtesy, Dorag quickly got to the point. Mr. Koshiro, I hope you can help us buy some grain. Koshiro, the food stock of the entire Shimotsuki village is almost eaten up by you. Do you still have the nerve to bring food to me? However, Koshiro still didn't say this sentence. If it weren't for Koshiro's high self-cultivation, I'm afraid that today he would turn into a spitting maniac, spouting blood on Drago. After a moment of silence, Koshiro finally nodded and agreed. Closing parenthesis. Chapter 023. The bald-browed uncle, the red-haired villain again. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. By the way, Mr. Koshiro, you mentioned on the phone that Luffy became a pirate with a 10-year-old boy named Sikong Ye. Are they still there? Drago then asked about Sikong Ye and Luffy. They're on board, Koshiro said, pointing to the two-masted screw boat parked in the harbor. Thank you Mr. Koshiro for taking care of the dogs during this time, I will go and see them. Drago thanked, and a few moonwalks came to the Emperor Star. The 4 of Sikong Ye were chatting when they suddenly felt the Emperor Star shake slightly, and then saw Drago walk into the cabin. The ferocious face immediately frightened Sikong Ye, and his whole body instantly hung above Luffy's head. At the same time, there are a lot of thoughts in my heart. How could Drago appear in Shimotsuki Village at this time? Could it be that Sabo has already fallen into the hands of the Revolutionary Army? Impossible, even if his butterfly changed the plot, it wouldn't be that exaggerated. He still hasn't heard that the celestial dragons are coming to the kingdom of Goa. How could something happen to Sabo? The other 3 little ones in the cabin were also startled by the sudden intruder, and they all became vigilant. Both Kuina and Zoro were carrying bamboo swords, which were immediately in front of them. Come out, I have something to see you. Dorag's deep voice reached the ears of the 4, but their eyes were fixed on Luffy. Are Sikong Ye on Luffy's head? Luffy patted his swollen belly dissatisfied, and stood up. Uncle with bald eyebrows, what can you do for me? Hearing this title, Drago's eyelids twitched and he almost couldn't hold back. Suppressing the urge to beat him up a lesson, he said again, I'm not looking for you, but the boy on top of you. Oh, Luffy lay down next to Ju, and lay back on the sofa again. Sikong Ye didn't hear what was going on outside the window, and whistled to himself, pretending he didn't hear. Now he has also realized that the reason why Dorag appeared in Shimotsuki Village in advance may be the reason for his little butterfly. It is likely that Fengche Village or Shimotsuki Village has the eyeliner of the Revolutionary Army who learned that Sikong Ye recruited Luffy and came to Shimotsuki Village. Of course, it is also possible that the black-bellied Koshiro can't stand Luffy, a big eater. He secretly ran to contact Dorag, and wanted him to take Urza away. Drago's eyes were fixed, and the hidden conquerors began to leak. Luffy was the first to feel the pressure, and Zoro and Kuina, who were on the other side of the cabin, also felt chills. Speak up if you have anything to say, don't make such fools. Sikong Ye is in the state of Yumi Xuanling, and it is not false at all. To hurt him, Drago had to kill his own son first. Of course, Luffy has the body of a devil, so he can't die. Even if Dorag kills Luffy, Sikong Ye, who is out of Yumi's boat spirit state, still has the skill of life and boat to save his life. As long as the Emperor Star is not destroyed, he will not die. Unless Drago knows all his weaknesses, kill Luffy, Zoro and Kuina first, and then smash the Emperor Star, there is no chance of killing him. Who the hell are you? Drago also found that Conquerors was ineffective against Sikong Ye, so he withdrew his momentum and asked directly. Although Drago never took care of Luffy, he always paid attention to Luffy's whereabouts. In the original book, whether it is personally sending Luffy off in Rog Town, or arranging for the bear to send Luffy off in Sabayati Archipelago. It's all about the secret love that Duo Lage, the father, has for his son. Naturally, there is also Dograg's eyeliner in Windmill Village. When he learned that his son was going to sea with a 10-year-old boy to become a pirate, he had already rushed towards East Blue desperately. I'm afraid that if I'm not careful, Luffy will be buried in the hands of those vicious pirates. Immediately afterwards, Koshiro called to tell him that Luffy had come to Shimotsuki Village. Drago was overjoyed and asked Koshiro to do everything possible to keep Luffy. Fortunately, Sikong Ye didn't intend to leave in a short time, so it also saved Koshiro a lot of work. My name is Sikong Ye, and I am the captain of the Zwei Pirates. Concise and straightforward self-introduction without any nutritious information. Drago frowned, and asked again, what I want to know is your identity before becoming a pirate. Drago, who has a unique information network, is completely wary of Sikong Ye, a character who has never appeared in East Blue. Hehe, your question is really interesting. I was a child before I became a pirate. Sikong Ye was speechless. Puff. Zoro couldn't help laughing out loud when he heard this answer, but then realized that the timing was wrong, so he quickly held back. Kuina at the side could hold it back, but seeing Zoro's blushing face, he also laughed out loud. Drago's face darkened, making his face even darker under the hood. God is still a child. It seems that he is really a child, even Sikong Ye is a child now. So what kind of retarded question did I just ask? Why did you recruit Luffy? No reason. Luffy wanted to go to sea to become a pirate because of the red-haired Shanks, but Shanks refused, and I just needed a partner, so we hit it off. The cartoon version of Sikong Ye spread out his hands, saying that the reason is so simple and boring. Drago. Is this still a red-haired pot? Chapter 024. Sikong Ye is online, cross-species enhancement. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Luffy's wanting to be a pirate may be the reason for the red-haired Shanks, but Drago doesn't care. What he really cares about is whether Luffy's captain is reliable. What kind of fruit did Luffy eat, and why can he be resurrected? In fact, Drago has already learned from the spies in Windmill Village that Luffy ate rubber fruit. But then Koshiro told him that Luffy can be resurrected, which made Drago unable to determine what fruit Luffy ate for a while. Sikong Ye blinked, and brought out the routine of fooling Luffy before. I am a dark fruit capable user. I can sense the dark matter in everything and activate it to strengthen it. Luffy's rubber fruit has been transformed from Paramesha rubber fruit to Zone Phantom Beast Human Fruit Demon Man form under my strengthening. In the devil form, not only blunt weapons are ineffective, but also sharp blades are ineffective. The body's resilience is greatly enhanced. It can be regarded as the elementalization of Logia or the awakening state of Zone. Seeing Sikong Ye talking, the corners of Drago's mouth twitched wildly. Paramesha demon fruit power can be transformed into Zone through dark enhancement. Liar. But thinking about it carefully, dark fruit seems to be an extremely mysterious existence in Logia. Moreover, the development of devil fruit is all about the imagination of the capable person. Maybe Sikong Ye has developed the ability to strengthen cross-species. Then what is your current state? This is the state of dark energy enhancement. I can possess the person I have strengthened, and further enhance the strength of the possessed person. In this state, I can't attack or be attacked. Only when the possessed person dies will I be forcibly released. The characteristics of Yumi Shipling will be discovered sooner or later, and there is no need to hide it. As long as no one knew his life was tied to the Emperor Star, he could rest easy. The reason why he confessed so much to Drago was to take the opportunity to attract Zoro and Kuina, besides wanting Drago to give Luffy to him with peace of mind. After asking everything he wanted to know, Drago fell into a long silence. In the end, Yu let out a sigh of relief. Since it was Luffy's own choice, I respect his decision, and I will ask you to take care of Luffy. It's natural. Sikong Ye was not overjoyed to get Duo Lage, the real tricky thing was Garp. Inexplicably entrusted to pay, Luffy looked puzzled. Hey, uncle with bald eyebrows, who are you? Why do you keep mentioning me? Dorag was silent. His identity is too sensitive and he doesn't want to identify with Luffy. You have asked me so many questions, so you should answer me a question. Sikong Ye said suddenly. You ask. Drago is still straightforward. I heard that the celestial dragons will visit the kingdom of Goa soon. When exactly? Why are you asking this? Drago immediately became vigilant. Sikong Ye rolled his eyes. Of course I avoid them, or do you think that my small body will go to the world's nobles to be tough? 2 months later, after finishing speaking, Drago left the Emperor Star, obviously worried that Sikong Ye's words would be surprising. Seeing that Drago didn't say a word to Luffy from the beginning to the end, Sikong Ye felt speechless. Families in this world always seem to give people a sense of imperfection. One Piece Luo Jia abandoned his wife and son to start the Age of Great Navigation. Drago abandoned his wife and son to ignite the flames of the Revolutionary Army. Usopp abandons his wife and son and follows Shanks to seek freedom at sea. Sabo was regarded by his parents as a tool to join the royal family since he was a child. Nami and Nuo Chigao were abandoned by their biological parents on the battlefield since they were young. Sanji was bullied by his brothers since he was a child, and was treated as a failed experiment by his father. Robin has no parental care since she was a child, and she can only be a servant when she boards with relatives. The residents of Ohara treat each other with indifference, and those children regard her as a monster. What made Sikong Ye speechless the most was that Chopper's parents drove him out of the herd because of his blue nose. All the settings seem to express, this world has been rotten to the bone. Being poor cares themselves, being wealthy cares the world. Right now, Sikong Ye doesn't have enough strength to change the world, he only hopes to recruit a group of partners, and change the tragedy of some of them by the way, that's all. If the future has the power to shake the world, he doesn't mind fixing this corrupt world. Captain, who is that fierce-looking guy? Luffy asked with an absent-minded expression, picking his nose. He is your father. Sikong Ye has no obligation to hide it for Drago. What? Kuina stood up from the sofa in shock. Isn't Luffy's father the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Drago? Hearing what Kuina said, Zoro also remembered that when Sikong Ye introduced Luffy a week ago, he did mention Luffy's father. Such a big man came to Shimotsuki Village, maybe he wanted revenge from Scar. Zoro instantly thought of the sad farmer who offended the 3 giants with a scythe. However, Sikong Ye knew that as the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dorag needed Koshiro's help to collect food, so it was impossible for him to trouble Scar. In my previous life, when I read novels, I always encountered the plot of beating the junior to come to the elder. At that time, I felt quite shameless. Now, he really hoped that Drago would be shameless again. Unfortunately, this is not possible. 025 fruit platter, 2 swordsmen on the right track. The new book asks for flower evaluation votes. Don't make wild guesses, Luffy's father won't interfere in this matter. Sikong Ye released Yumi Chuanling and sat back on the sofa, interrupting Zoro's conjecture. Why? Kuina asked persistently. From the beginning, I wondered why Luffy didn't know his father at all, and Luffy's father didn't seem to have any plans to recognize him at all. After finishing speaking, Kuina looked at Luffy. Luffy was still picking his nostrils, with a look of nothing to do with himself. What is father? Can I eat it? Then Kuina had no choice but to cast her inquiring eyes on Sikong Ye, who spread his hands and said, the leader of the Revolutionary Army is a thorn in the side of the world government, and it is not good for both sides to recognize father and son. Seeing that Kuina still wanted to ask more questions, Sikong Ye quickly changed the subject. Eating only barbecue is a bit boring. There are some fruits in the refrigerator. I will bring them to quench your thirst. After saying that, Sikong Ye hurried into the kitchen and brought out 2 fruit platters. Pass one of them to Kuina. This is kiwi fruit. I heard that eating it can beautify the skin, so I will give you a taste first. Then he handed another copy to Zoro. This is a purple grape. I heard that eating it can enhance the sense of direction. I don't know if it's true. I'm not a road idiot. Being poked at the pain point, Zoro tried to argue. Then he grabbed a whole plate of purple grapes and swallowed them in 2 or 3 bites. Obviously, Zoro still cares about his road-crazy attributes. I want to eat too. Luffy saw Zoro directly eating a fruit platter, and stretched out his hand to grab the fruit in front of Kuina. However, he was directly kicked away by Sikong Ye. You can eat it later, or I'm afraid you'll just eat up all the kiwis. Seeing that Sikong Ye cared so much about her, Kuina blushed for a moment, and her little heart beat faster unconsciously. Reaching out to pick up a piece of kiwi fruit and putting it in his mouth, the sweetness welled up in his heart. And many more. There seems to be something wrong. Kuina suddenly realized that there was no sweet feeling, she only had a sense of vomiting at the moment. Don't spit it out, swallow it. Sikong Ye quickly reminded. Although Kuina was confused, she suppressed the feeling of vomiting and swallowed it. But she secretly made up her mind that she would not take a second bite. What did you eat for me? Kuina asked Sikong Ye angrily. Immediately afterwards, she found that her body seemed to be much lighter, and her various attributes were also slightly improved. stretching out his hand and making a move, a small whirlwind condensed in his palm, whistling. Even if Kuina has never seen devil fruit, she understands it now. She becomes a demon fruit power. The beautiful eyes looked at Zoro, and saw that Zoro was also surprised by his own changes, but he hadn't thought of devil fruit yet. Instead, he happily challenged Kuina. Kuina, I suddenly became stronger, I want to challenge you. Kuina rested her forehead with her hand, she had never seen such a stupid person. So she quickly told Zoro her guess. Zoro was shocked. What? I ate devil fruit. Wouldn't my dream of being the best swordsman in the world be shattered? Kuina nodded, desperate. According to her father, after eating devil fruit, she is no longer a pure swordsman. Kuina looked at Sikong Ye, the culprit of all this, and said coldly, I'm going to kill you. Although Zoro didn't speak, the look in his eyes that wanted to choose someone and devoured it already explained everything. Sikong Ye quickly used the Yumi ship spirit to fly over Kuina's head. Not to mention, this skill is really good. Tried and tested. Get down. Kuina slapped the top of her head in a panic, but couldn't touch it at all. I was anxious and angry for a while. It's just a devil fruit, so don't shout and kill. Sikong Ye resentfully said. What do you know? What's the point of reaching the pinnacle of kendo by relying on devil fruit? Kuina retorted. Sikong Ye shook his head, little girl, the path is narrow. In this world, there has never been a rule that a person with fruit ability cannot become the world's #1 swordsman. No one is qualified to restrict those with fruit abilities to compete for the #1 swordsman in the world. That is a blasphemy against the #1 swordsman in the world. For those who like to dig into the dead end, Sikong Ye's previous set of One Piece's free theory is enough to deal with it. Just change the settings a little bit. But Kuina still retorted. But this is too unfair to those swordsmen who don't have devil fruit. Fair. Hee. Girls are naturally less powerful than boys, do you think it's fair? Humans are inherently weaker than Murlocs, do you think it's fair? The Murloc's natural strength is not as strong as the Titan, do you think it's fair? 3 questions in a row completely caught the 2 young swordsmen. Especially Kuina. Her natural strength is not as good as a boy's, not as good as a Murloc's, let alone a Titan. Calculated in this way, it seems that there is nothing wrong with her eating a little devil fruit to make up for this natural injustice. But Zoro, as a boy, is extremely strong in his bones, and confidently believes that he can become the #1 swordsman in the world by relying on his own strength. Therefore, I still have some doubts about devil fruit. But not as repulsive as before. After all, I ate everything, so what else could I do? Sikong Ye smiled contentedly at the 2 little swordsmen who were fooled and limped. No, they were on the right track.